It's delayed. Can't change the camera. Not while the show's on.
You can always bring it closer.
It's close enough.
I feel so far away. Why am I so far away? Oh, there we go.
You're not so far away. Yeah, lean forward a little bit.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
welcome to Crossed Paths. It's me, Lucian.
What is that?
What's what?
That.
It's to subscribe. Oh, it does show up.
Oh,
sweet.
fancy.
Yes.
So it's down that corner, I guess.
Yes.
Little subscribey thing on the screen.
Yes,
hey, who knew? Who knew?
Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
How are you?
Oh, Jinx.
So hi guys, it's me, Lucian. We have Dave and we have Chris.
Hi.
Hi everyone. So
Robin's asking where Mama is.
We didn't have we couldn't fly Mama out that quickly because she left, but
yeah,
she should be back.
She'll be
soon.
back. She's gonna be she's gonna be on some popcorn parties. Maybe I don't know what's next week is 4th of July.
Yes.
Maybe she should return for popcorn party. We'll think about that.
4th of July, that's exciting, isn't it? That's a big deal for you guys. Is that right?
It is for me, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love summer holidays. You know, it could be go poke yourself in the ass with a needle day. If it's between June and August, I'm in. No, but seriously, like I love 4th of July. We have fireworks, or whether we go. I don't know. It's going to be a little different with COVID and all that. Because usually going to the city and there's thousands of people. They light off a big display. Obviously, they're not doing that. So I don't know. They're starting to set up the firework tents, so we might have to go get some fireworks.
We still whatever happened to the fireworks that we did.
We've got some somewhere. Yeah, we're gonna find that too.
Oh, that's great. They've been sitting on our house waiting to explode.
So in the middle of the night to a pop. You know what happened?
Are we going to get a cross paths video with fireworks, maybe?
Are we doing the intro video?
Oh, we've got to do the intro, haven't we? All right, hold on. We need to. Yeah, that's right. The producer's a little bit not here. All right, hold on. We'll be back. Let's do that again. I click it. Wait a minute.
And we're back.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Oh, he did the wrong one.
I did the wrong one. I have my own popcorn party.
Hold on.
I'm the only one doing that. What God's name? All right, that was the right intro. Hi, we're back. How's everyone doing? This is the popcorn party. Of course, we have Chris with us because he's a member of the cast here now. That's it.
Slowly but surely becoming part of the furniture.
You are, yeah.
You're the expensive chair that everyone wants to sit on.
No, you guys are bookends. I'm the meat of this whole thing. You guys are the bookends
whatsoever.
I'm
beg your pardon, Mr. Lucian.
What?
I said, I beg your pardon, Mr. Lucian.
I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so weird.
I'm going to go through and say hi to everybody because I'm conscious that on Wednesdays we don't really get a chance to speak much. So,
yeah.
Hi, Robin. Tasha, hiya. Tasha makes a proper cup of tea, by the way, if it's the Tasha I'm thinking of.
Well,
Isis Mummy, hi. Sophie, hello. I don't need to say hi to Cross Paths.
Hi, Cross Paths.
We've got Janice. Hi, Janice. Long hair, skinny eyed toe. Hello, hello, hello. And Sean Hall's here too. Hi, Sean.
John.
Whispers.
Hi,
Hi
Denise.
guys, how
Hi,
Natasha?
long hair, skinny eyed toe, and Janice.
How is everyone doing?
Natasha, I've got my proper
Look,
cup of tea here. And my Star Wars mug.
Oh, I have
Ooh.
nothing because it hasn't been delivered yet.
This is what I'm drinking, and you wonder why I'm in a cup. It's because when this like produces the condensation on the outside, it like gets drippy everywhere, so just keeps it from getting messy.
I have nothing because my food's not here yet.
Right.
I got a little pre-roll that I got for free today.
Yay, because Dave got his weed card.
I got my weed
finally.
card, baby.
Hooray!
So I went to the local dispensary, and it was like Christmas in there. Though I got 3 free little mini pre-rolls. Oh, and I like free. Let me tell you, if it's free, it's me. Ain't no shame in that.
Freebie, you and me.
Freebie, you and me. And a shame for the free.
Hi, Wiley. Hi, John.
Wiley, Kylie, hello. We haven't seen you in a while. At least I
Right?
haven't.
It's
Yes.
so good to see
Welcome
you
back.
guys.
Virtual hug. Yes.
Oh, but Dave, we're breaking a rule.
What's the rule?
Social distancing.
Yeah, you get the social distance. We could actually do it. Now that we have like a functioning bedroom, we literally could. You could go join on your phone from
I
the
could.
other.
I literally could.
The other studio,
Right.
and we could be socially distanced. Or you could just put a mask on.
And we could have a cool little three-way screen.
I can barely handle 2 right now. You want me to do 3? Look at it. We're stuck in this together, so whatever.
Right.
Just don't go bringing that stuff home.
I have no idea what's happening right now. Everything that you are saying just sounds filthy.
No, we're talking about COVID. He says, "Oh, we're breaking the rules. We're not social." And he pushed me because he just likes to push me in, things like
It
that.
is. It's fun because I push him. It's like trying to push a boulder. Then he pushes me, and it's just like.
No, wait. Oh! Like the pinky. The pinky.
No, literally, you should see me. I'm like the weakest. I'm a strong bitch, but I'm a weak bitch. So Dave was like the other day, who was like, "How strong are you?" I'm like, "I'm pretty strong. Like I could take you on in a fight." He's like, "Go ahead and punch me as hard as you can." I was like, "Okay."
Did you go yet?
That's pretty much what it was like.
Then it was like, "All right, my turn," and he just runs.
Oh my god.
Oh. See, he is a strong bitch, but let me explain the anatomy of a
My hair.
evolution.
My hair.
Weak arms, weak neck, weak head, strong mouth. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and
I may
goes.
not be physically strong, but
Oh,
I could read you to filth.
Ooh,
Ooh, geez, what are the cats?
I think
doing
our
now?
cats are breaking the house.
Hi, Antonello. Hi, Emmy.
Hi,
Hello,
Evan.
Richard.
Hello.
Antonello has the best Facebook posts.
He does.
Where was that? He posted there was a penis statue somewhere, and I'm like, yes. Let's replace all of the Christopher Columbus statues with penis statues. Big, giant statues of penises.
Crickets. Chirp, chirp.
But then, if you did that, equal rights and all, would
Yeah.
you not have to
everyone-
then put up statues of vaginas?
Oh, shit.
And
Yeah, right? This
does-
is the US. Yeah.
Right.
Is there
'Cause
appetite doesn't feel like the right word to use here, but is there appetite for vagina statues? What do we think in the chat?
Hi, Biffy Rose. Oh, bye, Biffy Rose.
I've got to keep it.
Ooh, hi, Jack.
I got to keep it clean. Oh, my God. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
We
I
skid her
know,
off.
let's bring the tone back.
May we bring back the public worship, the phallic worship in public squares. Was that ever a thing? Well, I'll tell you. Is that ever a thing? So, not to go into a spirituality discussion, but I'm Christo-pagan, and on the pagan side, I work with the Greco-Roman deities, and I'll tell you things because I actually have, of course, I'm Italian descent, but I have like this fascination with that time in that world. Like any documentary that I can see about that, I'm there, and I'll tell you, it was a very sexual time in human history. It was. What are you doing?
He's playing with your cord over there.
Well, maybe you'll like.
Anyways, sorry.
Anyways, our cat is being. You got to do it right. Look it. Did you hear him run? You got to do it right.
Anyways, so let's kind of amp it up a bit, because.
Or titties. Yeah, look it. That's right. So we can do this a little bit classier. Well, all right. Hold on. All right. It's already not equal. Thinking of the titty, right? What are you doing? Yay.
No, that's good.
I know that's good, but you interrupted my conversation.
Okay, keep going then.
So I just mind me said titties. So it's already unequal in that regard because you get R-rated movies here and they show titties galore. No Narnar region. They even do female Narnar regions, but not the male. Why not? Why can't we see a nude male in R-rated movies?
To be fair, I mean, you see the male chest a lot more than you see the female chest. So I think with this, with this discussion, you could take it round in so many circles. And when you're talking about the nether regions thing, like you might see a bit of bush, but I don't think you actually see full on lady parts, just like you don't see full on male parts.
True.
So I think there maybe it depends how you look at it and from what point of view you're looking at it.
But you bring a new point. Is you see the male chest a lot more than the female chest. Why don't you see the female chest at the beach? You don't. You see the male chest. It's so uneven. It's so messed up. We need penis statues to fix all this.
It's funny. Sorry, Lucian.
That's okay. No, because I was just reading Anthony's comment. He said, yes, people have the irrational fear of the frontal male nudity. Penises are not scary. We need to enjoy them freely. I agree, because I was talking to Anthony a week and a half ago, I think it was, and we were talking about how a lot of the decks out there, we see mostly like female full frontal nudity. Well, not full frontal, but mostly full frontal. But it's like you barely get to see the guy, and if you do, it's like for one card. And it was cool because we were talking about the creator of the what deck was it? Anthony, what was the deck we were talking about? Oh, New Choice. And I was talking with Antonello how he's talking with the creator to have a lot more full male nudity within the deck to embrace the male aspect and not just the female.
Yeah. It's very skewed. It's very uneven. It is very uneven. It's a beautiful thing. I love looking at the male body when it's not mine.
I think it's just things that are just ingrained into us for from years and years before. Like there's a similar. It's not a similar argument, but in the same vein, the whole argument about male toilets and female toilets and gender neutral toilets and all that kind of thing. See, when you really strip it back to the absolute base of everything, and I know that everybody's got their own views on this. When you actually strip it back, like, what is the need? Why do we need to have that? Like, why do women have to have a place that they go to and men have to have a place that they go to? It's all, what am I trying to say? It's just feelings, and the way we are. It's it's ingrained into us through
Yes.
through the lines, isn't it?
Mhm.
And it's the same about how female breasts are viewed as more taboo, if you want to put it that way, than the male chest and male
Mhm.
pecs. It's all just nudity at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's,
Why is it such a thing? It's
and I'm
because
going to
it's
tell you.
just been ingrained into
I'll
us.
tell you why. Because you're right. I'll tell you why. Because you're right. It is this thing ingrained in us, and it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It is the tie between these areas and sexuality.
Mhm.
It makes
Mm.
this taboo, right? This fake taboo, and that feeds what's ingrained in our minds.
Mhm.
Yeah. But with that said, I'll just throw a wee thought in there, right? If you were to say to me, right, you could wave a magic wand and have it all change so as that, people just walked about naked willy-nilly, I don't know if I would be so quick to use that, because
Yeah, no.
we get, we get the pleasure, the excitement from, the unknown. Do you know what I mean? We as humans get a lot of kind of, we get a lot from that, things that we don't know about.
Yeah.
So that's part of the exciting thing about, about getting with somebody. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
because you're going to see a part of them that you wouldn't normally see. So
Yeah.
there's something, there's something good to come from it, but I'm just kind of throwing the thought out there, like, where
Yeah.
does it all come from? Like, don't know.
You know what's funny? You know what's cool? I just pulled a tidbit. There is one of the gay clubs that we go to in Providence in the city has one single bathroom.
Mhm.
Dark Lady.
Yeah.
It's one. Guys and girls go in. Now, obviously, the girls go in. There's like, you go into the main bathroom area where the sinks and the urinals and all that are. And then there's two, think of it like little closets or whatever, where you either poop or a female goes. And
Hold on, I gotta feed the cat.
but everyone goes in there, and it's all. And I've been in there like a dozen times, and I've never thought that thought until this day, until this conversation. We just went in. We stood at the urinals. Girls are right there looking, and it just never even dawned on it. It just, wow, I never had that thought.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In my work, where I work, in the centre, there's no urinals in any of the toilets. The male toilets and the female toilets are the exact same. They're all cubicles, which I think is, why not? Do you know what I mean? Why should it not be a kind of equal thing? But I remember my first time I went into that toilet, I kid you not, I absolutely crapped myself because I thought I'd walked into the women's toilets. I was like, oh my God, first day in the job, and I've walked into the female toilets. And you can do that, you do that thing in your head, that quick assessment, like, right, if I walk out here, people are going to see me. Do you know what I mean? They're going to see me come out of the women's toilets. And obviously I discovered that it wasn't the women's toilets. It was indeed the men's, and they just didn't have urinals. But panic stations, big time, man.
I know where you've been. I've been there. I've got a story now. This is the first time I had ever traveled out of the U.S. I went to Germany for work. My work had an office there, so I get off the plane, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I rushed to the bathroom so I can go get my luggage, and it's not English. I don't remember what it was as. It was both begin with an H. It was like Heron, Hera, or whatever.
Yeah.
I went in. Of course, no urinals. I'm like, well, I gotta go. Maybe it's Europe. Maybe it's something. I walk out when I was done, and walking out like right opposite me, like there's a door on each side. You know how?
Yeah.
I went in, I got confused, and I went and I did my business in the ladies' room without even knowing. I could have been. Imagine the international incident that would have been. American gets off plane and creeps on women,
And they said back to the old.
And then tries to pretend that he's gay.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's some funny shit.
Exactly. Jack
know.
said, as long as a trans person, as long as the bathroom is clean, it shouldn't matter.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that's that, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just going to kind of have a look back through the comments. And by the way, see, I've noticed that often I'm doing this is because I've got the comments on my other screen, and that's why quite often I'm looking over. It looks as though I'm just getting distracted, but it's not. I'm still very much engaged. But yeah, more penises in tarot, please.
Wait a minute.
Bring on the dicks.
Hey, Taro, what does this mean? Urinals are cruising, which is sadly a lost art. Long for the days of cruise. Oh, okay.
Cruising, I think,
Cruise
is
in bathrooms.
I have.
No, let me tell you something.
what have you done? What was that? I missed that.
When
Cruise in a bathroom.
cruising in a bathroom.
I've done that before.
Nah,
This was before I met Dave, though.
let me tell you, there's great cruising. Probably
Quickly get that in there, Lucian.
What?
I'm saying you need to quickly get that in there, eh?
Well, yeah, because I didn't want people to think that I was cruising currently. This
No.
was old Lucian in the past.
pre me Lucian, but
I
I'll
was
tell
a
you,
hoe in the
Well,
past.
I cruised too. But like we had cruising spots. The mall in Providence, great for cruising. India Point Park is a cruising spot. Oh yeah, just tons of cruising spots where you go to get
Get some
You don't have to go in stinky bathrooms. No, that's not for me. I ain't gonna cruise the pissers. No. No.
Yeah, I'm same, Dave. That doesn't appeal to me. I like a bunch of flowers, but like chocolates, a nice
These are
bed with
romantic.
rose petals scattered. No, I'm exaggerating, but yeah, no, I don't.
No, but it's I mean, I'm the same way. I'm not like for the gifts and stuff like that, but just the quality
Yeah,
time.
neither. I'm only kidding on.
No, but I mean, I get your point. The quality time of the person, not just hookups. You know what I'm saying? The more relationship, not just the quick hookup in a bathroom.
And
Which there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's
Didn't
teachers
want-
on as long as you're safe, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want to insult anyone. Okay, you can go. Sorry.
And Robin says, I'm all for doing away with urinals. It seems to like a bizarre notion to line up plumbing facilities where you can watch everyone else's private functions.
I love that.
I agree.
Describing Ian as a private
I
function.
don't know if it's Dave as well or anyone else in here, but I feel awkward when I go to a urinal and there's like someone else, a guy standing right next to me, and just like turn away a little bit, and then you're like, wait a minute, there's someone on the other side.
No, I don't give a shit.
Oh, I don't know. It's just me. I feel very awkward about it, so
I just
I
go
always
right
go
in
to
there.
like the stalls.
Do my business. You want to stand next to me and pee? Go ahead. I'm doing my business over here. Just don't go peeking.
Nah, there's there's an unspoken rule, isn't there? Like you get those people who, you'll be, wherever you are. It's the same when you're on a bus. You're on a bus, you're the only person on there, and someone feels the need to come and sit right next to you. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like social distancing. Now we've got an excuse. But it's the same with the urinals. Do you know what I mean? You're the only one in there, and then someone comes and stands right next to you. It's like,
Unless they're cute and attractive, of course they're gonna be sneaking a little peek.
Of course. Yeah, the ugly people, right? They don't.
You're
give
just
a
like,
shit.
this is us. Oh, when you see the Hawkeye, you're like, oh hey, how you doing?
Well, if you've just joined us on Cross Paths, Lucian is giving tips on how to cruise at a urinal. Welcome.
Yes. So tell us, how does one cruise the urinal?
Just give those subtle hints, like, hey, what's up?
Do you like walk in next to someone and you kind of lean in while you're doing your pretending?
Well, no, because that's obvious. You don't want to be like, well, hey, how you doing over here, buddy? No, that's like the art of cruising is all about the subtleness. You don't want to give away the fact that you're obviously cruising, but you want to give those subtle hints, like, oh, hey, I'm interested in you. You wanna sneak away over there somewhere. That's what it's all about.
So for some stall sets.
Yeah, you don't want to be like that bright light bulb that's like, available.
Yeah, no. That's not
I
for
should write a
me.
book called The Secret Art of Cruising.
Oh, we'll be talking
with
about
Lucian.
this. We'll be talking about this later. I keep finding out things. Oh my
So
god.
have we got a topic that we're going to discuss regarding tarot? Did we decide on one, or were we just going to come on and see how this went?
Just see how it goes.
But what we can talk about what's the tarot? What did you want to talk about?
What's
Well, that's
the
what we're
tarot?
saying.
I know what the tarot is. Don't find the person that's had edibles. It's not right.
Let's
Like,
see.
what? We'll talk about tarot.
Well, there's lots we can talk about tarot. For example, because I have been taking Tom Benjamin's course on the Marseille, and it's actually been really, really fascinating learning about Marseille because it opens up your mind to the whole world of tarot as a general. Because I know a lot of people are very nervous about Marseille because they see the pips right away and they're like, oh, I just see sticks and twigs and like coins. But what I started to learn is studying Marseille can really help you understand both the worlds of Marseille and RWS. Because obviously with Marseille, you have all the pictures that you can go off intuitively. But the one thing I've come to see is when you have those images in front of you, you get very fixated on that one thing in front of you that you kind of forget to expand your mind past what's in front of you. With Marseille, it's taken me to a whole other level of understanding the symbology, the meanings of the cups, the meanings of the swords, meaning of the elements, meaning of numerology, and taking all these different elements to expand RWS. So, what?
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay.
I can't listen.
No, you were just. Never mind. Awkward moment.
So you would highly recommend Tom's course then, yeah?
Oh, I definitely would. It's a long course. It's like, how many lessons are there? There's 9 lessons, but each lesson you get a video that's about like between 5 to 20 minutes long. And then with each one, you get like a handout or an activity to do. And I've been printing out every single thing. I've been typing up all my notes as I watch his videos. But it's a really, really detailed course that's just really, really amazing. And it's really broadened my mind. And what I love about his course is it forces you to think beyond the things that you're normally used to. Because, for example, one of the activities that he has you do, say you get to the suits. We cover the suits, and then he has you do an activity where you think of the swords, and then you write down what do the swords mean to you. Of course, me being me, I blanked and wrote down like a sword slices things. But then he goes into all this detail of like multiple things that swords can do that you kind of forget when you're looking at the swords at first. So it really helps you broaden your mind.
Yeah. Robin says, I don't find RWS images limiting. I actually find Marseille limiting to me, elements in numerology. Yeah, I think I can see it from both sides, but I think I'm more lean towards your point of view, Robin. We've talked about this before. I draw too much from the pictures, and I did a reading for myself not long before we went live, and for the first, I actually read almost purely from the pictures. So I don't think I could ever give that up. But at the same time, I understand that, if you're trying to read it as in the numerology and the elemental associations, if there's a picture there that isn't compatible with that,
Yeah.
that could put someone off. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to think of an example that isn't my usual 3 of swords grown, but let's go with it. Three growth swords intellect, so growth the intellect learning. If you're seeing a picture that's 3 knives stabbing a heart, that could be really off-putting. Do you know what I mean? And for your querent as well, it could be off-putting for them. So it could be like, okay, right, I see you going and learning something new, and they're like, all right, well, why is there 3 knives stabbing a heart then? So I do understand it. I totally understand it. From both sides.
Yeah.
Another thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, continue. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, I've been kind of watching some old YouTube stuff, and one of the things that I know I'm always banging on about Rachel Pollack, but she's amazing. And one of the things that she said, and one of the things she does when she's reading for someone, is she'll often like kind of turn around the card to someone and say, "Right, what do you see in that picture?" Do you know what I mean? So I think like if it's an advice card, you know, if like this card is the advice, I think there's potentially quite a lot of value in that, depending on what you view the tarot as. If you see it as a mirror that's, you know, a psychological tool, then I think there would be a lot of value in holding that up and saying, right, what do you see in the card? Because everyone will see something different, and the querent's view is, in my view, just as valid as what the reader's is. And if you don't have you know, scenic tips, then you lose that. Sorry, that's me.
Oh no, it's okay.
I only read RWS, so I don't have a perspective.
Yeah. But I understand. I mean, because I just reading back to what Robin said with I don't find RWS limiting. So what I'm just trying to say is I don't find it limiting either. I'm just saying that with RWS, you have an image in front of you, say like the 3 of hearts. Everyone always associates it with heartbreak right away. That's the only thing most people think of right away. And I'm just saying with that one image, people forget to go beyond heartbreak. And like, for example, I was talking about it with Sophie and Chris at one point, and we were like, oh, but remember with heartbreak, could also associate it with learning lessons, because when you're heartbroken, you discover like, okay, this is what happened. I don't want to repeat that again. Because a lot of the times we sometimes see that one image and then I don't know. I'm just blabbing now.
So I don't know. I think it depends on perspective.
Yeah.
So like I said a lot of times, you know, I read very intuitively. I've had like it depends on the cards around it. Like I've had that card, the three of swords, come up where piercing the heart was like, think in terms of Cupid piercing the heart. You know, it depends on the context. I don't, and maybe it's just the way I read, but I don't automatically go to heartbreak. A lot of times I do, but it's going to depend on the cards around it and the spread.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a sneezing cat.
No, I like what Anthony said. He said, I don't find the RWS limiting, but I don't find Marseille limiting either. The difference is Marseille is more opening and requires you to read more intuitively. I agree. What I'm basically just trying to say is I'm not trying to diss RWS. I'm not trying to say that Marseille is better. I'm just saying that learning Marseille has helped me go beyond what I've been doing before, pretty much.
I mean,
and it just gets you to think a lot more outside the box.
Well, I think each person's different. I mean, it depends on how you read.
Yeah.
I think you can't really put them in the box. I mean, that's how it worked for you, and that's great. But I think a lot of people some people read RWS by literal meanings. You know, they read the book and memorize it, and the tower is always that, and always that definition. Where other people, I just read intuitively. I am not really familiar. Maybe I should look at a Marseille deck. Maybe Lucian's right, because when you have other perspective, right, a different set of cards, it does kind of give you more things in your mind, to associate those with.
And what's really cool about the two different systems is, as different as they are, you can actually layer them on top of each other and use both of them in studies. So, for example, for numerology, I'm strictly using RWS, but then when it comes to Marseille, when it comes to symbology, I use RWS for the imagery. But then when it comes to the elements, I prefer using RWS. But then when it comes to this, because right now I was reading about the numerology aspect, and it was cool to lay out all the cards of the Marseille deck and then compare it with that of RWS and note the differences and similarities between them. So it's really cool to kind of study both at the same time.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's value to studying everything as much as you can. Do you know what I mean? It's just, tarot's one of those subjects that's just so deep. One of those ones you're never going to get. You're never going to read the last book, you're never going to, get to the last meaning. You're never going to understand 100%. It's one of those things you've just got to kind of do as much as what you can. And to me, there's, if I don't think I would ever want to say I'm not interested in that. Take that away. I've no interest in even looking at it because I feel as though I would be limiting myself. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's value to everyone. Like, look, I mean, not just tarot, like, and life in general. Push yourselves. Do you know what I mean? Go outside your comfort zone. That's how we grow. So yeah, totally get what you're saying.
I mean, I think it's just a lot of like I'm looking at the comments. There's a lot of different, opinions, and no one's is right. But I'm trying. Oh, I lost it. Finding a deck where you start to link the cards, and that's what I mean by reading how the cards tend to interact with each other to form a bigger picture.
Yeah, the way I actually like to describe the difference between RWS and Marseille is RWS is perfect for understanding foundations of tarot with the symbolism and the imagery. And then when you want to expand and go a little bit further, then that's when I would suggest going to Marseille to think outside the box once you've understood like the foundations.
Yeah. Marseille is, Antonella, just a different style of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get from point A to point B. It's just a different route, right? You're doing that reading, and you're gonna paint that picture that all of the cards represent.
Yeah.
The style that you use to get there is just the mode of transportation.
I have a question now for everyone here. What do you feel is the hardest part of tarot that you've been struggling with?
Well, can I answer that?
Yeah. No,
one of the things that I found.
Mute him.
Everyone but you.
Everyone but Chris. Hold on, we're gonna mute Chris. All right, you mute. Oh, that's the wrong button because I'm an idiot. That's it. You muted. I'm just kidding. Yes, you can answer.
So one of the things that I've found most difficult in my whole journey in tarot, one of the things that I still struggle with to this day, is linking the cards. So if you've been asked a question and you pull 2 cards, you can get to a point where you know the meanings of each card. That's I'm not going to say that's not difficult because there's 78 of them and it can be quite difficult, but it's a process that you can take yourself through and get to the end of. But actually being able to put 2 and 2 together, do you know what I mean? Sometimes the cards can be vastly different and it's like, well, what on earth does this mean? And to this day, sometimes I get 2 cards that come up and I struggle with it. So here I've got the 6 of Cups and the 3 of Blades. So 3 of Blades, 3 of Swords. So 6 of Cups, so looking back on the past, nostalgia. And 3 of Blades is kind of pain, and it can be pain and heartache in that. So maybe you're looking back on the past and you're a bit sad because maybe you've lost people along the way. The past brings you pain, you remember your pain. But it can be quite difficult to actually be able to do that. Sometimes you get to, absolute stankers of cards. You're just like, no idea. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, that's the most difficult.
It is. It is the hardest. I find the bigger the spread, the easier it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love doing the Celtic spreads. Because then, I don't know, but a Celtic spread, I can usually link them all really good. The 3-card spreads are tough.
Yeah, because you have only 3 cards to go off of.
Yeah, sometimes you get the Wheel of Fortune next to the Tower. Or the Wheel of Fortune next to the 3 of Swords, the Heartbreak card. I'm like, this is like opposites. But it does. As you read them and as you really get to know your deck and stuff like that, it really gets easier.
So I wonder, what are the people in the comments saying?
I just have something to say because Robin actually brought up an interesting point. He said, I would have thought it was easier to start with RWS and move to Marseille, where Kelly from Truth and Story pushes starting with Marseille first. After having studied both forms for a little while, I actually can start to understand where Kelly is coming from, because The issue, okay, so both are quite easy once you get them to study with equally, because I remember studying RWS and then not knowing Marseille. Of course, I saw the pips. I was like, ooh, how the hell am I going to read that? It's daunting. So what I actually understand from Kelly is when you're studying Marseille, it's interesting because you take it in terms of different categories that makes it a lot easier to understand. You study the numerology, you study the elements, the suits, the chords, the everything. But then when you come to RWS, because of the imagery, it can be overwhelming. I remember when I was first studying RWS, and I was overwhelmed with the photos because I was like, oh my God, how I read this intuitively. All the decks are different. How am I supposed to connect these all together? Where with Marseille, for me, I feel like it's easier to understand the different segments and how they come into play. But at the same time, the struggle that I'm having is taking everything and kind of blending it where it sounds kind of fluid. Like, you know how the last reading, for some weird reason, my brain wasn't connecting to anything and it was coming out all jumbled, but it was making sense in my brain. Whereas with RWS, it's a lot easier as well because you have the imagery to go off and you get to see the bigger picture. Whereas Marseille, it's a lot harder to see the bigger picture at first.
Yeah, I'm like, so pips do absolutely nothing for me. If I get a card that has pips, it does nothing. It's a period. It's nothing. So I need. This is why I like pretty much stick to RWS. Is I need that imagery. I need, I'm a, depending on the side of your brains, we could do a whole show on people that left brain, right brain. Some people gravitate towards numerology, numbers, text, form, that logic side. Other people are the more image and intuition on the artistic side. I'm on that side. I look at the cards and I'm immediately seeing a story unfold in pictures, like hieroglyphics on a wall, or when they used to do that ink blot test in school. All right, what's the first thing you see when it's just a blot of ink? Well, I do those tests really, really good. Because that's the way my brain works, and that's how I read.
Have you worked with soul cards, Dave? Debbie?
I have the soul cards, yes.
Yeah.
I have both sets.
Oh, do you? Right. How do you find them?
They are very vivid, very intense.
Right, okay.
I can't do a reading with just them, but sometimes I'll use them to enhance an RWS reading.
Yeah. Just looking at some of the comments here. So I think we'd asked, what do we find difficult? Wiley Kiley had said the courts. And then further down, I think with courts, the elements I use for them is pages to earth, knights to fire, queens to water, and kings to air. Yep, Wiley Kiley, I'm the exact same. That's what those are the associations that I use. For me, the pages are, very grounded, very kind of slow moving. They're learning. Knights, the complete opposite. It's all about action. They're moving, which is your fire element. Your queens, nurturing. And then the kings are coming in and bringing order to all of that. And it's that intellectual air element. So yeah, I totally agree. Sophie, I find myself forgetting to look at the images in RWS for more info, which I'm working on. So I'm excited to dive in to Marseille. It allows other explorations. It might be that balance that I'm looking for. So yeah, I think that's kind of what you were saying, Lucy, wasn't it? MA, not trusting myself enough to offer to read for other people. I think we've all been there, haven't we?
Quick question, Jonathan. What did you mean? I was just reading the comment. He said, it's a very broad question, Lucian. I would say don't just stare at the cards, talk and look at the person. What's that referring
to read the person. You see, I don't do that because I'm afraid that will influence my reading. Like if I'm doing a love reading, and I struggle with bad love readings, I'm sorry, I do. You know, if I'm sitting here and the heartbreak card comes out, you know, you get this. Well, your intuition's going to be like
Changing.
change. You know, change.
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't affect that. I don't take that as input whatsoever. I mean, I apologize if you're cringing, but the cards say what the cards say.
Yeah, I
You
tend
know?
to not look at the person
But they're
either because I
interesting.
don't want to have them influence just based off of their expressions as well. Because obviously, if you say something like blah 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 blah, and they're like ooh, and you're like looking at them, you're gonna be like, oh, just kidding. The cards are now saying something else.
Yeah. And Wiley says, I understand, Dave. I had, to learn RWS for the same reason. And that's, talking about the imagery and just the reading style.
I think that interacting with the querent thing is a very individual thing. I don't think there's one rule for all. And I think it might actually, for some people, it might be different depending on the querent. Some querents, it might, if it's someone you really gel with and you kind of have a really good kind of back and forth conversation with, it might actually be conducive to the reading to have that back and forth and have that chat and that interaction and that connection on a personal level. Whereas sometimes someone's coming in and they're not saying much, they're not giving you much kind of thing. It might be easier for us as readers just to kind of focus on the cards. But I don't think there's like one way to do it. I think that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I just realized I was looking at Top Chat the whole time, not live chat.
I don't know, but it's really interesting. What about spreads? What do you guys? I mean, we do the free readings with the 3-card spread, or sometimes we'll each do one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a spread that is your favorite?
I got to start doing more spreads at the moment because I'm still in like the learning phase of everything. I haven't really dove a lot into more advanced spreads. I mean, like you said, it'll obviously make a lot more sense when I've kind of got everything down and I'm like starting to meld everything together because I'll be able to see it a lot easier. But for now, I like literally just have the cards out as I'm like studying, so I don't really do like a big spread. And especially I use like the 3-card spread mostly for like little quick practices.
Sure.
I'm just trying to get used to reading after a certain chapter. Like if I'm studying right now, I'm currently studying numerology aspects. So it's like I just have the cards laid out in front of me just so I can get a sense of what they look like when I'm trying to understand their aspect.
Interesting. What about you, Chris? What about what any favorite spreads?
I've got a couple that I like to use. There's a few different 3-card spreads that I like to use. So you've got your situation, advice, and outcome, which can be really quite good. Earlier on, when I said I did a pull earlier on, I did situation, don't do this, do this, which was so good. Like, I'm talking one of the best experiences I've ever had with the tarot right there.
So you have the situation.
Yep.
Do this, don't do that.
Don't do this and do that, but yeah, like same difference. So it was really, really good. So it was. It really kind of helped me, and I actually came to the tarot with a genuine question, which here's a wee secret. I don't often do that. Do you know what I mean? I like to read for other people. And I like to read on my own, just like kind of throwing cards and maybe making up questions in my head. Maybe I have a wee imaginary querent. I don't very often come with a genuine question, but I did, and it really was. It really kind of did the job. I made this week. It occurred to me that I don't really have very many spreads for a general reading. So if somebody says to me, can I just have a general reading? I don't have any spreads that I tend to use for that. So I've kind of made one up, and it's based on the 5 elements. And you can do it like with 1 card for each element. The one I did was like 3 cards for each element. So you've got a kind of, I called it the elemental matrix because, it sounds cool. So it's like basically like a 3 rows of 5 cards. And then so you've got like earth, your 3 cards for Earth. You can think of it as like past, present, future, situation, advice, outcome, whatever you want. But you've got your 3 Earth cards and, just what we associate Earth with. So the things that make us feel, healthy, secure, happy. Water is obviously your kind of emotional connections and all that kind of thing, and so on, etc., etc. And then for the 5th element, but call it spirit or call it whatever you want. But for the 5th, it's like the bigger picture. It speaks to your higher purpose in life. Why are you here on this planet? What are you? What is your reason for being here? That's what I look at the final column as being. So yeah, I tried it out myself, and it worked pretty well. It's a lot of cards to be reading with, and depending on the type of reader you are, that might really work for you, or that might kind of put you off a wee bit. But it's definitely worth a try.
I was just looking at Sophie's, because Sophie said, I tend to do 3 to 9 freestyle spreads with no particular position, but I'm trying to do more fixed spreads with positions. I do the same thing right now, like when I do my self readings with study practice. I mostly do the 3 card spread or the 9 card, because what I like to do is when I have them laid out in front of me, sometimes when you first look at it, some card positionings don't really make a lot of sense at first. And you're like, okay, what is this trying to say? But the one thing I love to do, and I don't know if anyone else does this, I don't know if it's just me, but because I don't have like a fixed, like, okay, this is the past, present, future spread, or this is like an elemental spread or whatever spread, I like to reposition the cards so that it allows me to see a bigger or a better picture of what I'm trying to communicate with the cards, which really helps.
See, I try to always go in an order. Well, you'll notice I do a lot when I do my readings on Wednesdays. I'll start with 3, but sometimes I'll pick a 4th and a 5th. And it goes back to the way I read. You think about it. These cards are painting a picture. Now imagine if you had a picture and it was covered by like tissue paper that you couldn't see through. And you pick a piece away and you pick another piece away until you reveal the picture. That's kind of what is going on in my mind when I have to pull additional cards. I see like half a picture. I'm like, but there's something missing. And I will put down 4, 5, 6 cards all the way up to 9.
Here's a question for you guys. When you do a spread, so if you're doing like your Celtic Cross, Dave, or any bigger spreads, do you lay all the cards face up, from the get-go, or do you lay them one at a time, or do you lay them face down and then turn them over? How do you like to do that?
I got a good answer for you. So when I do my Celtic spread, right, and you know how it's conscious, subconscious, past, present, and then you have the 3 up the side.
4.
The 4 up the side. No, you've got 3, and then the last one's the outcome card.
Yeah.
I will put everything face up except the outcome card.
Oh, we like a wee twist at the end, do we?
Yeah, because you work through the reading, and then you get to the outcome, and then you give that outcome.
It's a good suspense too, because you're like, "What's the outcome? What's the outcome?" But it forces the reader to listen to everything else, because if you turn that last card over, the only thing they're going to be interested in is the outcome. They're not going to even want to listen to the rest of it. They're like, I know, but what's the outcome?
Yep.
Do you not think though? I'm just thinking that if I was to do that, me as a reader, if there was to be one card turned over, it's going to mess with my head to start with. But I'm going to spend the whole reading being like, wonder what that last card is. What's that last card? What's behind that? Do you know what I mean? Whereas if they're all face down and I'm turning them up one by one, then it's not as big I've not made a thing about that one card. So I don't know if that would put more focus on it for me. But yeah, I don't know. What does the rest of you guys think?
You see, I could, because of the way I read, I need to see the whole picture.
Yeah.
Which is why I leave the outcome card upside down.
Yeah. You could
I'm
just like
read
9 cards. Read 9 cards and then go whoosh, put them away, and then I was going to do the EastEnders ending theme tune for all the UK people in the chat room. You guys won't know what that is. EastEnders is a soap. It's like a TV drama thing that's on the telly, and you know, it always ends on like a pure tense cliffhanger type thing, and it's the big drum, doom, 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 doom. So yeah, just like not read the last card, just put them away quickly, and then do you know, your big dramatic end. Oh, how mean would that be? But funny too.
Actually, I might try, because usually when I read, I will draw them and I'll draw them all face up. But what I might actually start doing, especially in the study phase, is put one card down, leave the rest flipped over so I don't see them, because it'll actually allow me to study each card as I flip them over and analyze them a lot easier. Because I realize sometimes when I have them all faced up, and I'm trying to look at all the cards, and if they're not in a certain order that makes sense to me, I get really frantic at first, and I'm like, oh my god, this is overwhelming. So with having the others not flipped over, it actually allows you to think about the card that's in front of you and analyze it a little bit more without the added stress of the other cards that you're looking at the same time.
Well, a lot of people saying set them face down and flip up one at a time. I guess I'm an oddball.
I think as well, right? See if you've got them all face down and you're doing it one by one, so you can read it through. The first time you're going through and you're turning each one over and you're reading them one at a time. But then you can go back and start for the start with all the knowledge and then start reading things together and doing all that. It's like, have you guys seen the film The Sixth Sense? Like that's almost 2 films, because you watch it the first time and you don't know the big twist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who's not seen it, but you watch it the first time not knowing the big twist. And then you watch it the entire second time, knowing the twist, and you're like, "Oh my god, yeah!" Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like 2 films in one, and that for me is reading tarot cards face down and then going back again. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's the best way I can describe it.
That's
I do it different.
A lot like how do you notice a lot of times when I'm reading and I'll be like, okay, so this card says this card says this card says this. I kind of go on a slight tangent of trying to read the cards, and then later on, like towards the end, I'll then have a big aha moment. I'm like, oh, I just put it all together. This is what it actually means.
Yeah.
That's what it's kind of like.
Yep.
Yeah, this Uber Eats guy is coming.
Like, where's he going? He's going to Mars first.
Yeah, right?
Like, geez, it was supposed to be here like...
They had the NASA space station or whatever on TV.
It's going to be here in like another 30.
I think it's to get our food. It's coming from the Hubble. I'm starving.
Hi, Opal.
Hi,
Opal.
I agree too, Wiley. So Wiley just said, I love the way they play together. Where's that comment? Right here.
You love the way
that's not it. It moved. Here we go. I agree. I love how you can move the cards around and, well, obviously not, well, depending on what you're doing. I'm in the study phase right now, especially when you're studying them and trying to understand them. It's fun when you move cards around and understand how it's all about interaction with each other.
Yeah, but moving the cards from position, that changes the whole meaning of the reading.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yeah, no. Once they're down, they stay.
Well, I mean, like, obviously I will... Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, for example, like, you have the 3 cards in front of you. You see them as they are, but then sometimes what you see in front of you might not always make sense. So sometimes I will then kind of shift them around a bit to see how else they can interact.
Interesting.
So it's not just... It's like, remember how I say a lot of the times you look at one card in tarot, but that one card is like a diamond and it's multifaceted depending on what angle you're looking at it?
Interesting.
That's what I'm taking.
Yeah, so when you guys do, now obviously you're not going to do this on a Celtic spread because there's way too much cards. But when you're doing a 3-card spread, right? You know, I pull 1, 2, 3 in the positions. What do you guys think about, hey, maybe this card makes more sense over here, and repositioning them? I've never thought of that. I know. I can think back in my mind. There are times when that would have made some sense, where I had some readings that, oh, this shit makes no sense. But if that one was over here, it would have made more sense.
I don't tend to. I wouldn't ever change the order of things. You know, if I've got my 3 cards, I'll leave them where they are. Sometimes I will focus if I feel particularly strongly that a certain card is more important, I'll hone in on that card. Like you guys have seen me on Wednesday night. Sometimes I'll just start off with the last card that just because I'm like, sometimes it's to say, like, I know these two cards are shit, but this one is really good, so let's kind of focus
Yeah.
on that. Sometimes it's just because I particularly feel that that's just the card to start with. But I will always kind of leave them in the same order, and when I'm summarising at the end, I'll tend to read them in order. So yeah, I guess a bit of both for me.
Yeah. No, because I do the same thing. Sometimes there'll be a card, and it could be the first card, and I'm like, yeah, this is the King of Swords. Okay, yeah, but you've got the whatever over here, and I'll just completely like gracefully go over that first card like a speed bump and hone in, because sometimes it just it makes no sense.
With speed bumps, Dave, you're supposed to go over them gently so you don't damage your car. Yeah,
I go fast, but it's like that.
No. Right, what are people
Unless they're
saying?
the huge mountainous ones, then of course, I have to slow down. I drive a Toyota; it'll flip over if the speed bump's big enough.
What's everyone's shuffling technique, style or technique? Sophie's asking. Shuffling technique. There's an interesting one. That could be a popcorn party of its own, couldn't it?
Suck at disaster. That's my shuffling technique. Disaster.
So I just have my little deck here. This is how I shuffle. Either I will do the regular riffle shuffle that everyone knows, or I will do the whatever that was called. I always forget. Is it hand over hand?
Whatever.
But it's weird. I do it the other way. Everyone seems to do it this way. I don't know how people do that. That just feels weird. I seem to shuffle it the opposite way from everyone.
Yeah, but do it.
Because everyone goes this way.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
That's not how
what
I do
happens.
it.
So how do you do it?
I do it the other way. So I shuffle it. Oh, crap. Now I forget how. How the hell do I normally do this?
One of those things when you're thinking about it, it's harder to do.
The back cards, you keep putting the back cards down. It's not going to shuffle.
No, I shuffle this way. So it's the same thing, just
you
the
grab
other
her from
direction.
the front. Oh,
yeah.
listen.
It feels weird going the other way like everyone else.
I got to get the deck out. So I try this because I try to do that kind of shuffle until I drop them everywhere. So you grab from the. No, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I think that's weird too, Lucian. I do it the way that you don't do it. Towards my thumb.
Wait, what did you say, Chris?
I do it towards my thumb because, like, see, for me, when I'm hand over shuffling, like, I can control how many cards I'm grabbing with my thumb. So if I want, like, do one shuffle where I'm only grabbing a few cards at once, I can pull them with my thumb. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of varies how much I'm mixing them up, whereas I might just kind of let them fall the next time and just kind of do it a bit more like, and then depending on the deck, I might riffle shuffle, washing them on the desk as well, although that does get you reversals. So yeah, I'm not fussy.
So how do you avoid this nonsense where I'm trying to put them down and they come back up and it's like, I got it.
What do you mean, sorry?
So, like, sometimes I'm trying to see how I do it. It's really, it's being stupid. See, it's like, it's working now. Never mind. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Lucian, do you know, you're the only person I've ever seen who riffle shuffles upwards. Like, I'm not even going to try it because it'll be the 78 card pickup if I do that.
This way?
Yeah, like I've never seen anybody do that before.
Him in the boob. I want to just hit him in the boob when he does that.
Well, because
it's
when
awesome.
my cousin first showed me how to shuffle, I can basically shuffle. Oh, okay. Okay. Besides that one part, I can shuffle any direction.
It's not that direction.
Yeah, no, I can shuffle that direction when I'm trying to shuffle it. Hold on while I play 25 pickup here.
Yeah, you got a couple over here. Where the hell is that? I'm going to kill the super driver. I swear I'm hungry.
Yeah, Wiley Kiley, I've got to do that with this deck, with my everyday enchantment right now, because I can kind of do it like that, but it's really kind of stretches my hands. So I've been kind of doing it more that way, but I do intend to trim it, just kind of trim and just leave titles. So hopefully that should solve that problem.
Yeah, how do you shuffle bigger decks? I struggle to be I
I
do these ones really good because it's a standard playing card size, so I can
if
handle
they
them.
fit in my hand, I will riffle shuffle. If they're bigger than that, I have to do the hand over hand. Because my hands, obviously, they're like too big for me to actually like shuffle it.
Do that. Yeah, that's the same here.
We've got a couple of questions here. So Sophie's saying, when you shuffle, do you get a feeling of when to stop, or how do you know when to stop and lay the cards down? What do you go by, a feeling or question? For me, yeah, I think it is just a feeling. You just kind of know when you're done, don't you? Either that, or sometimes you get that way where you're just kicking the arse out of it. You're never going to feel done. I'd get to a point where I need to say to myself, right, stop. You stop. You kind of hold it for just a wee second. You probably see me doing this on Wednesday night. Sometimes I've got to do it. You just stop, you hold it, you think, right, what's the question? How should Sophie shuffle her cards? And then you just start putting cards down. And it's always worked for me. But yeah, generally it's a kind of just a feeling. What about you guys?
Same here. It's just a feeling. I like to get a good shuffle. And I don't know. It's just a feeling I feel off of the cards that I just got to shuffle them. And then I know when it's time to stop.
It's interesting because I do two different separate ways depending on what I'm doing. If I'm reading for, obviously, YouTube, I will shuffle the deck a few times, ask my question mentally, and then I'll pull the first 3 cards. But if I'm with myself, reading for myself where I have a lot more time to just kind of relax, I will actually shuffle it a few times, ask my question, and then I will fan the cards out in front of me, and then I'll just concentrate on my question or whatever it is that I want done. I'll move my hands along until I feel like, okay, this is where I need to pull, and then slowly pull my cards when I feel like I need to.
Here's a question, sorry, right, before I forget. When you do the fanning out and you pick them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've fanned them out, right, and I'm picking them, so I'm going to pick this one, and then I'm going to pick this one, right? I've put them in a pile like that, and I hand them to the reader. Now, if I was to hand them to you, would you put them back into the order that I'd picked them out, so that the first one I pick out is the one you do first, or it's the way that they get handed to you?
The way you get handed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way they're handed to me, I'm grabbing the top one, top down. It's the way I'm doing.
Right, okay. Robin asked a question. Did you answer? Were you talking about that, Lucian? Do you shuffle and cut the deck? Don't see the point of cutting after you've shuffled.
I actually do both. Yes. So what I tend to do is it's weird what I do. I kind of do a combination sometimes of all 3. Sometimes I will just full on shuffle the entire deck. Sometimes I'll shuffle, riffle, and then I will then do the hand over hand. And then sometimes I'll even cut the deck and then draw my card.
Yeah. I always cut the deck.
I kind of do like a weird combination of all 3.
I look for them a lot of times, like when I'm done shuffling, I will kind of let the cards fall apart, like, where that first crack is. And so it's almost like they cut themselves and then I read, but I always cut the deck.
Yeah. See, it's not something I tend to do. I don't know, and I don't tend to fan out and pick cards either. To me, there's just, once it's shuffled, the cards for me are in an order. Do you know what I mean? And there's something about that order that's just right, you know? And cutting the deck, I can understand, because the way I kind of tend to think about it is, if I've shuffled this, that deck is now the order that's in. That's a story, and that story is me because it's me that shuffled them, yeah? But depending on what I want to know about, I might want to cut to the middle of the story. Whoops, I might want to drop some cards. I might want to cut to the end of the story. So, I might then think of my question, So I want to know about, my wedding that's next year. How's that going to go? So I might think about that and then let the cards naturally cut. And then that way I've come to like that. Right, okay, well that's obviously the
Yeah.
bit that's about that particular. So I kind of get it from that, but in general, not something I tend to do. But that's kind of my logic for when I do it.
That's exactly like why I cut the deck. I think of the cards in that order, almost like a timeline, or a timeline of the story. I'm asking the question in my head of the cards when I cut it. I believe that is the cards putting me to the point where the answer or the answers that the cards want to give is, if that makes sense. It was a mouthful.
Okay, yeah, me too. I love to shuffle as well.
I do.
Quite often I'll just sit and shuffle whilst we're on these, or I'll just sit and shuffle away. I got given into trouble by my partner, because we were on family Zoom calls, Zoom quizzes, and I would just pick up a deck and start shuffling. But I'm quite a loud shuffler. I don't know if you can hear that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
at one point, he just turned to me and he said, "Stop that!" Do you know what I mean? He's like, "Everybody can hear you. Stop it." So I was like, "Right, okay, not allowed to do that." But yeah, I quite enjoy it. I just like the way
I do
feels.
too. It's fun when you're watching a show and then all of a sudden you get that impulse. You're like, nope, I need my deck. Hold on, I need to go get a deck. You
Yeah.
run to go pick a deck just to shuffle. And you're like, oh yes, this feels so much better now. Which brings me to a question.
I should do that. I never do
Noah,
that.
You need to connect with your cards. Which brings me
I will
to
hold
a
them.
question.
But yeah, it might help my skill at shuffling.
That's how I actually learned how to riffle shuffle, was to just practice.
Practice, yeah. I gotta do
But
that.
when you guys get a new deck, how do you connect with it? Because I've been getting a lot of different people with different things on how they connect with it. Like I know some people will sleep with the deck underneath their pillow to connect with it. Some even, I actually, in Voodoo, what I used to do when I get a deck was I would literally pluck a hair out of my head, put it on top of the deck, put that deck wrap it into a cloth, put that underneath in a dark area for 7 days to connect with my energy. And then nowadays, what I basically do, some people do like an interview spread to see what the deck's intention is and if they're gonna vibe with that deck. So,
Okay, interesting.
what do you guys do?
You want to go first?
Sure. So for me, tarot cards are to be read. I appreciate that's not everyone's point of view. Everyone uses them differently and quite rightly so. But for me, my cards are there to be read. So how do I break it in? How do I get to know it? I read the absolute shit out of it. That's it. Read with it.
Interesting. I'm like, wow, okay. You fucking hit me with a conundrum here. Because here's the thing. I couldn't, it's like I'm the opposite, but the same. So the first thing is I believe that your first deck should be gifted to you.
Okay.
Mine was, but again, to each their own.
But
But
what if
I
you never get a deck that's gifted to you?
Well, you should.
I wasn't gifted a deck.
I gave you a deck.
What deck did you give me when I first started?
Oh God, I don't remember, but I gave you a deck.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
We'll debate that later.
We will. But anyways, I read the shit out of them. I will go through and I will look through them in order, like do a walkthrough, and then I'll just start with myself, 3-card spreads. I'll do a kill, and I'll just read the shit out of them. Get to know how they work together. Yeah, because they are there to be read, but I believe they have like this energy of their own, this personality of their own. They're like their own entity. And the only way to really get to know it is to get to know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am the same way as MA, who just said, some decks I use right away, some I leave in order and study before I use them. Ooh. I am the exact same way. Lately, I have certain decks that when I got them, I'm like, okay, I'm using you for study, so I'm going to keep you in order so that when I study, it makes a lot more sense. Because obviously, when you're trying to study, you don't want to be like thumbing through 77 cards to get to that one card that you need. And then some decks I use purely just to connect with it through shuffling and shuffling and shuffling, even if I'm not reading with it right now. And then some decks I will Nope, just those two.
No, but I mean, it makes sense. But
Mhm.
I have to like shuffling them without looking at them. I don't know, because I do hold them, and I will sit there and watch TV and just hold them in my hands just to get my energy on them. But I think to get to know that the getting to know them process for me involves me seeing the cards.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Antonello says there's no rule. Oh, jumped. There's no rule that says you need to be gifted your first deck. If everyone waited around for someone to gift them a deck, most people wouldn't have one. Yeah, I kind of I get your logic there. I get that. I think where that comes from, just my personal opinion, right? But being gifted something, not just a tarot deck, being gifted anything at all, it's special. Do you know what I mean? That then holds meaning for you. That thing holds meaning and is special to you. And I think if you're gifted a tarot deck, doesn't need to be your first one, but if you're gifted a deck, that'll always hold that meaning for you. So it gives it a wee bit of a je ne sais quoi. Do you know what I mean? It gives it something that it wouldn't otherwise have had. So there is maybe something to be said for it. Whether it needs to be your first one, I don't know. Don't know. Just my 2 pence worth.
Okay.
Well, no, I kind of feel the same.
Okay, we can move on.
Sorry. No, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, like, some people don't always get gifted their first deck. So, I mean, but that doesn't mean that getting gifted a deck isn't as special because, like, I have a couple that I've been gifted. For example, the La Corte dei Tarocchi that I was gifted from Simon. That's a super
Somebody to gift me some
special
food.
deck. And where is this guy going?
He's fucking lost.
He's seriously.
He's on Route 4?
Weird. That's like 30 minutes away now. Anyways, that's a special deck to me, and it's so overwhelming because like when you're trying to study, you have all these decks, and you're like, ooh, okay, so I'm studying Marseille, but I have these 5 decks that are speaking to me at once. I'm just like, oh, which one should I use today? But no, it's overwhelming when you're trying to want to use one deck, and you're like, but
not all of us
have
ones
are like wanting to use as well.
We don't all have that problem. I have 5 decks. But legitimate question. Now I know there are collectors out there. I get that. But forget about your collection deck because I'm not, do you, when you're selecting a deck that you're going to read with, do you does it have to speak to you in some way before you can read with them? Or, you know what I'm saying? I only buy decks that I connect with that speak to me. So is that a process that's common?
I think so because, well, it's kind of like with everyone. Everyone's going to have a very specific style of deck that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when I first started out, I was into the ones that were very dark and creepy. But now I've expanded, and it's like now I'm into the more historic decks. I'm into the Marseille decks now. It's like I'm starting to understand my personal styles. Like, yeah, there are styles out there that I don't really care for. For example, I'm not exactly thrilled about all the fairy decks that are out there, or some certain ones that everyone else is like, "Oh, I love this deck," and I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Oh, I don't even like that deck at all.
That thing's hideous.
Doesn't vibe with me."
Yeah.
So obviously, because I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm not really going to put money into a deck that I just don't really connect with. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are decks that I bought that I know I would never read with.
True.
One example is the Starman Tarot, but I obviously bought that for a reason. I mean, it's just a crazy awesome deck, and it's by the artist that designed David Bowie's album covers. It's just a unique deck. I can't read with it.
But it is interesting because I've come across certain things like Dave where I bought a deck based visually thinking, oh, I'll be able to connect with it. It's super cool looking and I'm connecting with it. Beautiful artwork, whatevs. And then I get it And then I start reading with it. I'm like, I hate this deck because it's just not speaking to me and I can't read with it whatsoever. So it's interesting how certain decks you think you will connect with, but you get it. And then you're like, this just does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've just got to try it, haven't you? You've just got to go for it. You can only assess it from a distance so well. Sometimes you'll see, someone do a walkthrough of a deck on YouTube, and you think that's amazing. I love it. I love everything about it. I want it in my hands right now. Then you get it in your hands, and as soon as you've got it and you're looking at it up close in person, you're kind of like, I don't know if I actually see what I thought I saw. Sometimes you'll get it in your hands, you'll still love it, and then you'll start reading with it, and it just won't say anything to you. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? You just got to,
Yeah.
don't know.
So do you guys have decks, or do decks come in and out of like season with you? What I mean is sometimes a year or sometimes a particular deck is speaking to me, and then sometimes it's not. Okay.
Yeah, like I have a deck collection for different seasons. Well, mostly two, because they're the only two I really care about. But for example, when I was organizing my decks, I have like a stack of ones that I use purely for if it's Samhain, ones that I use completely for Yule, aka Christmas and Halloween. I have decks that I will use specifically for Marseille, my favorite RWS. So yeah, it's like I have certain categories for depending on like what I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
What was the question? Sorry, Dave? Oh, going through phases with decks. Yeah, I go through phases. So sometimes I'll just feel inclined to pick a deck up. I do tend to gravitate towards the same decks as my kind of standards. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes I'll just feel like picking a certain one up. And read with it a bit. But yeah, I suppose a bit of both. I've got my staples, but also I like to bring in a wee extra something every now and then.
Yeah.
Can I just say hello to Ozark Oracle?
Oh, yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, yeah, hi.
How are you, love? Let's just scroll up because I did see a question a little ways back.
You guys, if you post a question, post it in all caps.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh, yes, you did. Good.
Decks like people seem to have their own personality. Oh, that wasn't a question. I find that I bond closer with decks that repeatedly give me a meaningful reading.
Yes. Decks definitely have personalities.
It's like a person, isn't it? If you have a connection with a person, that you're going to bond with that person, you're going to gravitate towards them. Whereas if someone's just been a cold bitch, then you're obviously going to kind of tend to go away from them. And it's the same with a tarot deck. Sometimes a tarot deck is just an absolute stone-hearted bitch, and it won't. It's either not telling you anything, or when it is, it's like one-worded wee bitchy comments, and you've got to just learn to put it away. Just say,
I have a deck that's just nasty. It's just a nasty. You never get a good answer from it. If you ever want to have doom and gloom night, I can pull this deck out.
Yeah.
It's just, what the hell?
What deck is it, Dave? Do you know?
Oh, God. Oh, hold on. Now I got to find it because I don't remember the name. Oh, shit.
Do you have certain decks that you feel that you haven't used in a while, and then you like pick it up and you're like, oh my god, I completely forgot I had this, and you're just like, oh my god, where have you been like the past few months?
I can't find that deck.
For me, I don't think my collection's big enough to do that.
It was one of the ones I've edged. Hopefully it'll come to me.
Right there.
Give me a wee second, guys. I'm going to close this door because I'm being joined by like 50,000 flies here. All right, 2 wee seconds.
Nice.
Or was it the New Elements?
No, New Elements definitely is an intense deck.
Oh yeah, that's the one you edged in black. Darkness of Light.
It might be this one. I can't even get them all out.
Hold on.
Yeah, this is the one. No matter what you get in this deck, it ain't. Every time I do a reading with this deck, boy, it is not happy. It is not happy.
Robin said, Chris, I have a few cold bitch decks.
This is it right here. It's the Darkness of Light. This deck is a bitch. I never get a good reading. I never get a happy. I get accurate readings, but boy, they're never happy.
Right, Darkness of Light. That's actually one that I've kind of had a look at and been interested before, but for some reason I've just never got it.
It's a nice deck. I edged mine. Oh, I'm gonna pull it out because I edged mine in all black, and oh my god, does it look hot?
Yeah.
See, right there, that's a deck that everyone is like. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the Oak, Ash, and Thorn, and I remember flipping through it. I'm just like, this is like not speaking to me at all. I think it isn't the Oak, Ash, and Thorn more of like an animal type deck, like animal and nature.
I'm not sure. I've not heard of it before.
Anyway,
someone mentioned Jezebel. You mentioned New Elements. Is that New Era Elements by Eleanor Piper?
That's this one. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
This this one's very emotional. It's just not. I get good readings from that too.
Right. See, do you know, I find that difficult to read with because it has keywords. I find decks with keywords quite difficult. So I do, and because the keywords are quite unusual as well. Some of them are more thoughty than your standard Rider-Waite Smith.
Now, what deck is this?
New Era Elements.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. The words don't bother me.
No.
So this is the Darkness of Light, and look, I edged that. So there is one spot that I missed. You see that? But overall, it's beautiful and edged in black.
Yeah.
But it's nice. Like I don't know which card that is, but it's
Five of Swords.
Definitely, definitely is very dark. What's this?
Yeah.
Well, not dark, but I don't know.
Il Pazzo.
Dawn is asking Dave, who is mate? Oh, wait, that wasn't a question. She said, Dave is who made me get New Elements about a year ago.
Yes. It's an amazing deck. I think everybody should have that deck. It's just so powerful.
I blame Dave for me getting it as well, Donna. It was maybe about a month back. You were doing Wednesday night readings, and Dave, you wished out the New Era Elements, and I bought it that night. So I did. I should have been in my bed. I should have been sleeping, but I stayed up because you started using that deck. I was like, ooh. And I bought it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I blame Dave too. It's all Dave's fault.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a gorgeous deck.
It really is.
Really is.
Yeah.
So Kay asked, do any of you buy backups to favorite decks? Hell yeah! I have several backups to my favorites. Well, actually, all of my favorites, I have at least one backup. Unless it's the La Corte de Tarochi, which by far currently is my most absolute favorite deck I have. And yeah, I have a backup, and I get a backup for that backup because it's just such an awesome deck.
That's my New Era Elements. I edged in gold.
Oh my god, that's beautiful. How did you do that? What did you use to edge it in gold?
What was that? What was
that?
It?
Looks like you've bought that edged. That looks like professional edging. Like that doesn't look like.
And Newton.
Wow.
The one
I'll show you. Like I used a gold Sharpie on this deck, and I mean,
actually,
you can barely even tell that it's edged. Do you know what I mean? It's just faded.
Yeah, no, it's because it's got to be really metallic and shiny.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted when I did this deck.
Wow, that looks amazing.
So we used the Winsor & Newton Pro Metallic markers. Jeez, if I can open this up, I'll just show you what they look like because they're really cool. Because they have a double side to them. One is like a really, really thin side, and then the other one is a lot thicker and a lot easier to use. So what we do is we actually, instead of obviously you can't edge it that way, we kind of turn it to the side and then just kind of go along like that.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by this deck. Look at this card. Tell me it doesn't make you feel. Hold on, let me make me big. Hold on, I gotta make me big. I'm like, this deck just makes you feel. The despair card, the tortoise all wrapped up in like looks like string or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just makes you feel.
Yeah. Kay said one of my favourites was discontinued a while ago. What is the deck, Kay? Or are you just going to be cruel and telling us about a deck that's discontinued?
I know this great deck. It's been discontinued. I'm not going to tell you its name. My Wizards Tarot deck, the original one I have is like that. I've got 3 copies. One that I use, one that's my backup, and one that is new in the package.
Oh yeah, we were talking about backups. I'm not a backer-upper, not at all. I've got 2 copies of this, and that was because I thought I was buying the Universal Rider-Waite Smith, and I got another one of this instead. But yeah, that's the only one I've got 2 copies of. To me, the way my personal opinion is, why would I buy the same one again if I can buy another deck? If I can expand my collection.
What if you really, really connect with that deck?
Then
and it goes out of print.
Maybe. I guess maybe. But I don't know. Still,
No,
I really love Lightseers. Like that's my soul deck as far as I'm concerned right now.
Yep.
But I still don't know if I'm inclined to. What I am actually, because I've got the mass market. This one.
Yeah.
I'm interested in getting, an indie version of it. I think they do still sell the kind of big box versions, unless I'm very much mistaken. And even more interested in getting an original indie with the original Ten of Swords. I'm not, because I've seen them on eBay and stuff for like $500 and stuff. Not that interested, not quite yet anyway. But I don't know. Maybe one day I'll splash out and get that. But yeah, not so much as a backup. I don't think I would get another mass market. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of the
lights
Like,
here.
yes.
Yeah, because Chris, to be honest, I'm the same way, except for the Wizards Tarot. It's out of print and it's going for like $500 to $700.
No, yeah.
So that I need. I wouldn't read with it until I had 2 backups.
You had 2 backups, right?
Yes.
You had a third, but you gave one.
Yeah. He's got one that, but every other deck. No, I don't have backups of any other decks.
Right. Can I ask you 2 guys a question? Actually, I've wondered this for a while, and I've just never got around to asking you. So, in general, how do you feel about other people using your cards? And do you guys ever use each other's cards, or is that a big no-no in the Solera McHugh household?
Nope, I will never let anyone touch my cards.
Really?
Because I just feel like it's about energy. Because cards to me are an extension of you and your energy. So if you hand your cards off to someone else, they're absorbing their energy, and it's going to disrupt the flow and the connection between you and your deck. Obviously, unless like you're cleansing in between when they come back to you. But no, I'd never hand my deck to someone else.
So I wouldn't let someone read with my deck. I do have one particular reading style that I do in person. Whereas the person I'm reading for does not tell me their question. In that case, what I do is I give the cards to them. I say, shuffle the cards and ask the cards your question. Don't tell me, tell the cards. And I will pull these cards in a Celtic spread and read through just what I see. And we take that and apply it to the story. You'll be surprised. I've had some really successful reads that way.
What about
you? Really interesting. I mean, Sandy isn't interested in using tarot cards, so I suppose actually I normally let him have a look through them. So I do. It doesn't bother me, to be honest. If I was reading for someone else in person, I would probably ask them to shuffle the deck. Whether I would actually want someone, whether I would say, to someone else who read tarot, Well, yeah, actually, I'm just thinking, like I don't know, if you guys, came over here or something and said, "Oh, I've not got that deck. Do you mind if I try it?" I don't think that would bother me.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to get at. So if I'm specifically reading for someone, and I want to infuse the cards with their question, their energy, then yeah, I don't mind handing my deck to them and saying, "Shuffle, think of your question." But then if like it's in the context of like a friend comes over, they're like, "Ooh, your decks are so pretty. Can I touch them?" I'd be like, no, you can back the fuck up, bitch." But obviously, if like obviously like for example you came over and you're like, "Oh, that's a cool deck, do you mind if I just thumb through it to see if I like the deck?" Then yeah, obviously by all means pick up the deck and look through it.
It's a
Yeah.
really cool card.
Oh,
Gilded.
the devil. Oh, very nice. Is that the Gilded Royale, Dave?
Yeah, the Gilded.
Lovely.
It is. Where's the box? Yes. Here is the box. And this was a gift, a wish gift.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
When did you get that? Was that recently, or is that an older one? Oh, I've just froze. Can anyone else hear me? Is it just Lucian and Dave that's froze, or tell me in the chat if I'm on my own. Have they left me? Chris, you're not frozen, right? Okay, so it looks like I'm going solo until they bring themselves back. Right, okay, no pressure at all. So let's just have a chat until they decide to come back, shall we? I can't even remember what I was just talking about. Oh yeah, we were talking about the Gilded Royale. We were talking about other people reading with their cards. I think the general consensus seems to be that that's not okay. Personally, like I say, it doesn't bother me. I think if someone came to my house who was interested and wanted to have a thumb through it, even if they actually wanted to do a reading, like read for themselves with it or something, just to kind of try it out, I don't think that would really bother me, personally. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's a very, very individual thing, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, I think Lucian and Dave have froze. I'm going to keep going for a wee bit and just see if they come back. But yeah, we didn't have a specific schedule of things to talk about, so I'm a wee bit thrown here. How's everybody else doing? How's everybody's weekend looking? Is anybody up to anything exciting? Has anybody bought any new decks recently that are coming? Oh, Chris, you're the only one in your household that uses tarot. How did you start? So, Kate, I actually started about 20 years ago, to be honest. My kind of wee story is when I was really young. I'm only like 31 just now. So when I was young, my mum used to work in a pub, and she used to they used to have tarot nights at the pub. So my mum would come home and tell us all about getting our cards read, and I was fascinated by that. I thought it was really like cool and exciting and stuff. So I was a bit of a weird kid, to be fair. But yeah, so one time I think we just said, "Oh, let's get a tarot deck. Let's see what it's like." And we did. Donna, the first one that I owned was the good old Rider Waite Smith, the kind of blue and white lily backs. So I've had that for a good while now. Yeah, that was my first one. I've obviously now trimmed it. Because I've got the another copy of it, I didn't mind trimming this. I just thought I would see what it's like trimmed. Marina K, hello, I am new. Does Chris have a channel? No, Marina, I don't have my own channel. I'm just a bit of an imposter on Lucian and Dave's channel on Cross Paths. I don't have my own. Not quite brave enough yet, but I do really enjoy coming on with Lucian and Dave. We've done popcorn parties, which is what this is. We just kind of sit and have a chat about stuff, and on Wednesday nights we do free readings. So I come on with them on Wednesdays and we do readings. Donna, do you have a deck that is your all-time favourite? Donna, I'm thinking the Lightseers is probably the best answer for that at the moment.
Hey, we're
Okay,
back.
Oh, they're back! They're back!
Sorry,
You
I was in there
left me.
and the modem restarted.
I swear to God,
That was weird.
if I wasn't high right now, I'd be driving to the cable company that is one town over. Cox, come on. We've been having cable problems for like a month. Oh, Zen.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Everything's fine. I just about
See,
managed
this
to
is
hold
why-
the fort.
This is why we have Chris here.
Oh, it was here.
This is why we have you here. See, our internet could crash and the show keeps going on until we get back.
Well, I know. What would have happened there if you'd never got back? I would have just been talking all night.
Yeah. I don't know if like you probably could close the window and the stream would stop.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. But yeah, no, it was cool. We just had a wee chat, so we did. So Kay's saying Lightseers is her favourite at the moment as well. So yeah, Lightseers is the one that really seems to be speaking to me. I think was it Donna that asked that question? Yeah, Donna, you asked me.
Lightseers is a cool deck. Yeah, I'm gonna say. I have it. It's one of the ones I think I got a read with it. I don't think
I'm a little
No.
joking. I really am. Jay.
Man, I have done a reading. I have done a Wednesday night reading with the Lightseers.
Yeah, you have. I've seen you using it before.
Yep.
I think on my first night we were both using it, Dave.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So it is. It's a really neat deck. I definitely
Hi
love it.
Zane, how you doing? But yeah, Donna, I'm a big fan of you, Donna. I just found you recently. I found you. You did one of Simon's interviews, and yeah, I think you're absolutely amazing. I just love listening to you speaking, and I love your energy.
That's all right. I can switch over.
So yeah, I just thought I would dote on you a wee bit there, Donna. Hope you don't mind.
This is a really good idea with the cup here. Can you go get me one?
What?
I like this idea with the cup, so it
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
spill on
hold
my
on.
laptop.
Sorry guys, we're just trying to sort here.
Our food finally got here.
Oh, your food's here, right? Okay.
Like I am
that's
so
good.
starving. It's like 8 o'clock. Don't trip. It's 8 o'clock at night here, and it just finally got here. Oh, now I can have another. But yeah, definitely love the Lightseers Tarot. Sorry guys, we're getting way off. Thank you so much. The beaten path here.
I don't think there is a beaten path for popcorn parties, is there? I
Right?
think sometimes it's good to go on a wee tangent.
Exactly, it works.
Yeah.
I did have a question I was going to ask you about deck. Hold on, let me think of this. Oh my god, this damn internet just. I was in the middle of asking something and the internet crashed and I can't remember now. So we were talking about the Gilded.
Yeah, that's right. Gilded Royale. Yeah, you had that out.
Okay, I found my question. I got it. What do you think about decks that have some cards that are a little odd out? And what I mean, for instance, my Wizard's Tarot doesn't have a devil card. It's called the Dark Lord. There's a few other cards like that. What do you guys think of that? Does that throw you off? Are you drawn to? I'm drawn to decks like that. So what do you think?
I think it depends on the deck and it depends on the card. It can make or break a deck, I'll say that. Donna, yes, I'm drinking Iron Brew. I'm from Scotland. I'm not drinking this just because I'm from Scotland. I actually genuinely love my Iron Brew. And Kay Thompson said, "This is a great chat. I feel as though I'm having the gabbies. Am I talking too much?" No, you're not at all. You guys that were talking absolutely saved me there when Lucian and Dave stepped out for a moment. So no, please keep the chat coming. It's actually, I was saying at the start, Kate, it's really, really nice to actually be able to speak to you, because I'm conscious that on Wednesday nights it's kind of all systems go with the readings and don't really have as much a chance to connect. So no, I'm loving it. Please keep the chat coming. Sorry, yeah, Dave, your question was about different cards and how we feel about decks that have different cards. So what's your opinion, Lucian?
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, I was
Lucian's
going
buffering.
through the chat to see what I missed, trying to catch up.
So it was Dave's question. Dave asked, how do we feel about decks that have got unusual cards, that have got like maybe one or two cards that are different? For example, the Dark Lord instead of the Devil, or you know, that kind of thing.
I actually, depending on the imagery, I actually don't mind decks that are different, because there's a deck that I was talking about with Zane one time with the oh no, or was it with you and Benjamin the other day? How we were talking about well, it was with someone, I forget who it was. We were talking about a devil card and how it was very different than the typical devil card that you normally see. But what I liked about it was, with the typical devil card that we see the aspect of control, domination. But then, for example, with Dave's card, we see it as
Not the same.
What is your? Oh, it is. I'm
The
trying to
Dark
remember what
Lord.
your, the Dark Lord. Yep, control, domination.
It's,
But then manipulation. But then with this other deck I was looking at, I saw the opposite aspect that we normally forget about with addictions, and it was just a card that I'd never seen before, but I liked how it brought it to a different aspect to what you normally aren't thinking about.
Yeah.
So those ones I like. But then obviously if you have like a few cards where they're like completely out there and you're like, what the hell is this? This doesn't even look like it's remotely related to what I would naturally think of as that card. But sometimes I would think it would throw you off, but it doesn't. I like how different cards can have like a different interpretation. So
definitely. I think, like I've said, I don't know if I've said this to you guys before, but for me, there's a bigger picture in every tarot card. You know, there's a much bigger picture than just this one scene that's depicted. Do you know what I mean? With the devil, you know, for me, the bigger picture is it's all about your desires. It's your base desires. I've said before when we've done readings, you can use that to your advantage. There's people that have used that devil energy to do amazing things that they couldn't otherwise have done. People, for example, people have climbed Mount Everest. Do you know what I mean? That's their desire has driven them to do that. At the same time, if you channel that in an unhealthy way, that's when you get into the whole addiction and, substance abuse and all of that kind of stuff. So desire can have good points and it can have bad points. And then obviously the devil's got the other aspect, which is the devil himself. And you've got to ask yourself, is someone taking advantage of me here? Is someone, showing me the thing that I desire to make me do it for their own personal gain? So there's so much more to every tarot card than just what we can tend to see right away. And I think if you're talking about different cards, if the different card is pulling on a different part of that picture, then I actually think that can be really powerful, because it's cards like that that really open me up to. I really learn from that. I think I was saying to Zane the other day, Five of Pentacles from the Shadowlands Tarot really opened me up to the Five of Pentacles and gave me ideas that I'd never thought about before. So it can be a really kind of powerful thing. At the same time, if someone's just decided to, just to change it up just for the sake of it, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with the original meaning, that could be quite off-putting for me, I would imagine. So I think it really just depends. But that's the way I kind of see it.
I kind of see it the same way, because as I am just going to restate from earlier's discussion, how I said that every card is like an individual diamond that is reflecting light when it's hit from a different perspective. So what I like is that you can have that one scene of the devil card, but then what I've learned through Marseille is to push past what we would normally see within that one little card. And it's kind of like we have that ability to see the scene, step through the card, walk around a bit. And then what I love to do is I love to break down that barrier and rebuild it in an image that makes sense to me. But then at the same time, it's like it allows you to think past what you normally would. So, for example, say I think it was the Six of Pentacles card, that it's depicting a woman giving flowers to a child. Like that act right there to me is generosity. But it's like a lot of the time when you first start tarot, you're thinking about these specific words to relate to the card. But to me, it's about going beyond that and saying, okay, but what's generosity? What does it mean besides, okay, I'm giving something to someone else? It's cool to look at that, but then change it from different perspectives. So it could mean, okay, generosity could be, okay, I am opening myself up to someone else. They could be opening themselves up to you, but it's not literally just about the act of the coins and being generous. It can go beyond that and being like that person emotionally being there for them is being generous, being that listening ear, and being someone's support system. So it's cool to go beyond all these different facets of a single card. And that's what I like about different decks out there, is because it's really cool to see like the creator's vision and their interpretation of.
Well, I think it depends on the context.
Oh, it froze?
No, use a back. It's fine.
Nope.
Oh,
Froze
okay.
briefly.
Yeah. A couple points. One, I think for me, it depends on the context of the other cards around, unless it's a one card pull. And if you're doing a one card pull, then you really got to focus on that card. And like Lucian says, kind of walk through it. We have an interesting comment. I couldn't connect with the Devil card until I read it as temptation. That's another. See, this is a good example of what I mean by context. Like, I've gotten where the Devil, depending on what the cards are next to it, could mean, manipulation.
Temptation.
But temptation, I've gotten from that too, which is a little bit different to manipulation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think the context of the cards next to it on the other cards in the reading also play a bit.
I also like to view the Devil card as the card of desires and playing on those. What's that word? Inner desires, the ones that we seek, but we're too afraid to go after.
Yeah, that kind of carnal desire.
Yes, there we go. That was the word.
Yeah.
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 It's in a spread, depending on what's next to it, could absolutely mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like my kind of journey that I'm probably always going to be on with the cards is to understand the bigger picture in all of them. Do you know what I mean? Because I think once you know the bigger pictures, it's a lot easier to to do that context thing. Like, so Dave, you're saying there it will depend on where the devil falls. It might be temptation, it might be addiction, i.e. desires in an unhealthy way, it might be desires in a good way. But you need to have a grasp of that bigger concept, of that bigger picture, before you can actually, do you know what I mean? So for me, that's that's my objective, is to understand the bigger picture in all of the cards. But yeah.
And how they interact together, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Quick question, just because I found it interesting that Robin said desires are temptations for me. But it's like, at the same time, is it really? Because I could desire having a cookie in front of me right now, but I could easily be like, no, never mind, I don't actually want it right now. But then there could be the temptation of someone coming in with a plate full of delicious cookies, waving it in my face, going, you want it? And then you go, okay, yeah, I will actually have a damn cookie.
Speak for yourself. I want a cookie right now. That freaking chicken sandwich was like this big. That wasn't like, oh man, McDonald's sucks. Their chicken sandwich used to be like in a box, really big. That thing was like the McChildren chicken. It was like a chicken nugget on two like Catholic communion wafers. Stop.
Oh my god. Robin just said, Lucian, you are tempted to have that cookie.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'll be totally honest. I think sometimes though
Right.
you can take desire and it maybe doesn't mean temptation as much. So for example, I've got a real desire to, like I just said, learn all the bigger pictures in the tarot. That to me is a desire. That's something that I desire to do, and my desire to do that is going to push me to hopefully achieve it. I wouldn't akin that to a temptation though. I think it's maybe a wee bit different. We tend to use the word temptation almost in a negative sense, don't we? You know, temptation, you tend to use it when it's something that you feel you shouldn't have.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you can also desire things that are good for you that you should have. So I don't know. I think it's, you can
Yeah,
take
it's
it either
kind
way.
of like taking it as the desire is something we long for, but then the temptation is kind of like changing your mind to think, okay, I probably shouldn't because it's like making me feel guilty if I do have it. Well, not
Donna.
necessarily. Never mind. Scratch that.
I wouldn't feel guilty if I had a cookie right now.
Right. Never mind. Scratch that. Because I just realized, never mind, that could go in a different direction too. So ignore that part.
Donna, what are you cooking? I'm interested to know. Donna says she's still here, but she's cooking at the moment.
Oh yeah, send me some. I'm starving.
Did you not see your food had come?
I shouldn't have used that cookie. Everyone wants a cookie now.
Do we have cookies over there? I think we have cookies. Well, I know what I'm doing after this live.
Ooh. Donna's got gooey hands. Oh, wait. Greasy, gooey hands.
Oh. Too bad they don't have. They have in Providence that gourmet cookie place. They actually deliver. Oh, I could have a gourmet cookie delivered. Not the name of it. Something cookies. I can't get off the
Google
cookies now.
cookies delivered and you'll find that.
There's a place, I forgot the
actually,
name
let's
of it.
put it this way. This is interesting because Robin,
Blah.
sorry, why can't I like spit the name out? Said, I can't view the devil as a positive form of desire, which is quite interesting because if you put it in a different context, depending on the reading, it would possibly change. Because, yeah, you can see the devil as the negative aspect of desire, like the temptation and, oh, you shouldn't have this. But then at the same time, couldn't desire be a positive aspect and like having the desire to push forward through life or having the desire to take control of a situation that you really want to have succeed? So, I mean, I guess really depending on how you look at it and the situation, it could go either positive or negative.
German meatballs.
Or is that just me?
What's a German meatball?
I'm not sure. I know that Swedish
No.
meatballs is made with pork mince. I've made them. That's like, do you guys have IKEA over there?
Yep.
Yeah, so you get, I'm sure it's Swedish meatballs in IKEA, they sell them, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I make
I don't
that
know.
stuff. I'm the cook over here. I make Swedish. I can do Swedish meatballs, meatloaf. I like I like Italian. I like straight up pasta, meatballs, and sausage in Italian sauce. The red tomato sauce or gravy or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
that's my favorite. Oh, with the cheese. I think I'm making pasta.
You're lucky that Lucian's having a buffering moment. Otherwise, he would have picked up on your meatballs and sausage comment there, Dave.
Yeah, he's gone.
No, sorry.
He's been buffering.
I'm like catching up with the chat. Sorry, I don't mean to keep picking on you, Robin, because I love how you're like really making me think here. But I like how he said, I think I find positive desire in a different card, like the Lovers or Two of Cups, possibly. It's interesting how people can see the different aspects of a certain meaning in different cards. Because for me, when I think of the Lovers card, I think more of union and connection, like that connection between two energies melding into one. But I don't necessarily see like the desire aspect. What's everyone giggling about?
'Cause all I can think of is I Lovers card, meatballs. I'm sorry.
So it's interesting you're talking about the Lovers card. That's
sorry, but I do get that. Some cards to me are the positive side. Some cards tend to dwell more on the negative side.
I think of the cards as all of the cards in the deck remain neutral until they are interacted with the cards around them.
So if you pulled one card right now, would you struggle to read it?
Not necessarily, because all the cards, like, I sometimes
So how do you know
daily
it's positive or
draws.
not?
Well,
Because you have no reference. Your logic says a reference.
hold on. Let me prove what I'm saying here. So,
He's breaking out the cards, ladies and gentlemen.
say I just picked this up. You have the Ace of Swords.
You're struggling, aren't you?
Well, because, like, Ace of Swords is, like, as it is, it's a sword. You think of it as double-edged. What do swords do? They could either cut something down or someone, or, well, no.
So they can cut things down.
Or defend, but never mind. Yeah, that's more of a positive card. I don't know.
How about, yeah, but see,
with the negative cards, I don't know what it is. I
no,
just see them
because
as...
you can think of this as many ways. Cut ties to the past.
yeah, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
What's the negative of the Ace of Swords?
Stab that crown right off her head.
Not the positive. Cut a bitch out your life. No, okay, never mind. So
that's what I mean. That's a perfect card. I think I agree with you. It's a very positive card. Now, I look at aces as new beginnings and stuff like that too, but it's hard to say that that's a dark card.
So sorry, Lucian, see what you were saying there? Are you basically saying that the card has its own meaning, but in terms of it has a whole spectrum of light to shadow, and it's the cards around you that tell you whereabouts on the spectrum it falls? Is that what you meant?
Like, you know how in the deck we have, like, most of them are positive, and then you have a few in there that are meant to be indicative of more of the negative aspect, unless it's reversed. But to me, it's like I don't know what I'm trying to go with here. But I think it's more of like the negative cards aren't really as negative as they're meant to be. They're more neutral until you have the surrounding cards, because a negative card can either go more towards a positive aspect or more of a negative, depending on what surrounds it.
Yeah, I think they've all got positive and negative aspects, and even the ones that are really kind of where you're looking and you're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to pull a positive message here. Or sorry, you're looking and you're thinking it's a really negative card. Negative cards have positive messages. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's negative for a reason. It's kind of trying to nudge you in a certain direction. So I think you can always pull a positive message from a negative card. At least I think. Wait, you see, I'll go and pull a card at the end, and then it'll be like, right, I don't know how to do that now. But yeah, totally.
Yeah, because take the devil, for example. Like, you think of the negative words like control, domination, desire. But in the context, it could be actually provided a more powerful meaning that's not negative. For example, it could understand, depending on what's around it, it could also represent taking control of the negative aspects of your life, or taking... Wait, what was I going to say for desire? Embracing your desires and your gifts, because a lot of the time we tend to kind of... Okay, never mind. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, Toadstool hits right on the nail right on the head with how I'm the same way. I can find positive and negatives from the Tower, but from the Devil card, it's mostly negative. Whether it's temptation, manipulation, it's always in a negative light. I have had many readings where the Tower card was a sign of strength, a sign of, you're safe. It may be crazy outside, but in here you're safe. I've had a lot of readings like that with the Tower card.
Yeah.
My Devil card, it's always some sort of manipulation or something in the dark. That's just, that's just the way we read. Interesting.
Yeah. That's great. It's what makes us all individual, and it's what makes us such an interesting thing to do, is because we all see things differently. I can pull very positive messages from the Devil, but that's like, to me, the Devil isn't... I don't view the Devil card as meaning Satan, the devil. I
Yeah.
view it as like the horned one or Pan or whatever you want to kind of play it as, but I don't necessarily think of him as evil. And yeah, I can, depending on how they fall and how I feel about reading it, I can make it quite positive, I think. It's just individual, isn't it?
Oh, I like that. Two wrongs don't make a right. So there's duality in each card to balance in each reading.
There is definitely a balance there, right? Because there is two, like in the terms of like in my Dark Lord card, he's got two toads chained.
Mhm.
That's the manipulation. But yes, it could be, it could be. Now that I'm thinking of it, maybe someone holding two halves of you together. That would be a positive thing.
It's also
Yeah.
interesting when you take it from a different aspect completely. Like if you take the majors, which we've mostly been talking about right now, and go based off of their element, it's kind of cool to then throw that in the mix and see it as like, okay, so the devil card is fire. Wait, it is fire, right? I think it's fire. And then you have a sword element card in there, which is air. And then another fire card. You are producing a lot of steam within that reading. So it's kind of cool to see like, okay, that's the steam, that's the stress that's in your life. You need to cool it off with air element. So it's kind of cool to see it from that perspective. I don't know if that's just me, but
Well, I don't read like that, but I find it very fascinating. And I was saying for him, like the next time we do Wednesday night readings, it would be cool if he did all his readings element based, because I think that could actually complement, right? I do an intuitive reading, you do an element based reading. They can be complementary, and you do, another type of reading, or even a Marseille reading or something like that. And
I've gotten a lot into the elemental aspect.
but they start complementing.
Yeah, because it's all based on the four elements, and it's about creating balance within. If you have one element that's stronger than the others, then it's going to throw the balance off. So how do you offset that balance? By adding an element that balances each other out.
Yeah, and you take that and you tie that into the intuitive reading.
Right.
It just gives you not only more information, but maybe possibly even an action
A different
plan.
way of thinking.
And just an
That'd be
absolutely
kinda cool.
awesome idea. Scratch.
Kay's said there's a scene that there's probably Midsummer Key. There's a scene in it where two people jump from a cliff. The landing's very graphic. I've had to remove a card from Medicine Oracle because it provokes that image.
Wait a minute. What is that a deck?
So Midsummer K, I think it sounds as though it's maybe like a TV series or a film or something like that. I might be wrong, but she's saying there's a scene in it where two people jump off and the landing is graphic, so it must be a film or something.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Where did I put it? I'm going to find a card. It's probably going to take me like an hour and a half, but I'm sure we can. But a card that when I first saw it, I literally got emotional. Like, and I am an emotional guy.
Do you need some roses?
I got a rose for you.
Do you need a wig? No.
Oh, actually, here's another one. Hold on. I got to find a couple of cards that when I see them, literally, I tear up. So bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves.
What do you think of the elemental aspect of tarot, Chris? Because I know you use the elements a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I do. I like to. I use it with the minors. I don't really tend to use elemental associations with the majors, if I'm totally honest with you, unless it's particularly prominent in the image of that card.
Right.
Then I might, But Yeah, I think they're so useful, and it's really useful to understand what each of the elements means. So, for example, right, the Two of Swords in Rider Waite. I'm not going to be able to find it now because I've been shuffling like a madman. But the Two of Swords is obviously that one where it's the person's in two minds. They've got to make a decision. They've got two conflicting ideals, and that's symbolised by the two swords crossing. There's a blindfold on, symbolising. Well, to me, that means you've got to be objective. Don't put your personal interest into the decision. You've really got to kind of make this from an objective point of view. But in terms of elements, obviously you've got your air, which is your swords, but there's a body of water behind the person. And to me, that is, you've got to put your emotions behind you. You've got to take your emotions out of the picture and not make this decision based on emotion, So I think the elements are, and understanding the elements really kind of opens things up. I'm struggling to find this card. I'll find it at the very end, no doubt.
So, 3 cards. I want to show 3 cards that I'll tell you what are probably the 4 of the 3 most powerful cards that are the 4 most powerful cards. This first one, what is it? The Hierophant. Like, I mean, now we're going to get into the ones that get really emotional. Grief. Like, I look at that and it's, and then this card. Yeah. And then, so that we don't stay down, this is a hanged man who can hang above me anytime he likes.
What's he look right up?
Look at him.
Oof, damn.
Oof, damn.
My basement.
The basement's dripping. Oh, yeah, I couldn't take the night down with that. But like, there are certain cards that really, when I see them, it's almost like that show she was talking about.
Yeah.
It's like really, really shocking.
Yeah, they are really kind of emotion evoking. The Devil card in that deck as well. I think one thing Eleanor has done so well with that deck is, the images are powerful. Not just the kind of upsetting ones, but the kind of positive ones as well. It's just, they're really, really good.
Yeah. Yep. And Opal says, I agree. Great minds think alike.
Toadstool said, get ready with tissues for Dave.
Oh my God! The first time I tried to read with that deck, I tell you, I did need tissues. I don't know. The video might be in here somewhere, or it might be from my old channel. I don't know. When I first got this deck, oh God, when I was a mess when I was reading it. It's just a very, very, very feely deck.
Yeah. So, is there anyone in the chat? Is there any other decks that have a similar effect on you that you want to share with us? I'm interested to know. And Two of Swords for that deck, I did finally find it. So, like I say, the water is behind her.
Let me make you beg. Let me go hold that up.
So yeah, Elemental Association, that card. Obviously, you associate the swords with air, but I was saying that she's got a body of water behind her. And to me, personally, that symbolises, you're making a decision, you're in two minds about something, or you've got two people who are fighting and you're piggy in the middle and you're having to make the decision. To me, it's about putting emotion behind you. Don't, keep your emotions out of it because they're not going to help you make this decision.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I see that the opposite. To me, because obviously the water is the element of emotions as well, but I see it as trusting your instinct in knowing that you'll make the right decision.
Now, see, with me, it depends on what cards are around it. Because you can read that card as, with the blindfold, it could be read as maybe meditation, maybe, close yourself out, or it could mean
Don't
that
overthink
you
it.
are blindfolded. Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So it depends on the reference. This is how this is how I, I read intuitively. It's almost like hieroglyphics. It just depends on context. Look at me, I'm like my big bald head.
With a spider right behind you.
Wiley Kiley's talking about elemental associations to the major arcana cards. Yeah, personally for me, I don't tend to, I don't tend to focus as much on that. But I mean, yeah, Empress. I was kind of reading up a wee bit on the Empress over the last few days, and yeah, Earth very much to me would associate with the Empress. Water as well, I suppose, because she's all about nurturing, isn't she? So you could say water. But yeah, I think that's more open to interpretation, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't use the elements in the majors either because certain ones I kind of don't really see it. For example, I think was it temperance that I was like, why is it that element? I think it's element air, but
right.
me, I feel that would be more water based. But then, for example, with the magician, that's stated as it being air. To me, it's more fire because it's all about energy and manifestation.
Mm, yeah. Temperance for me would be water and fire, essentially water and fire, because you're talking
Yeah,
about moderation and taking two opposite things. So water and fire for me would be temperance.
For the name.
damn it. Sorry, what was that?
Hmm?
What were you
What?
saying?
No, that was me. I was just saying for temperance, I would say water and fire, just because the meaning behind temperance is all about moderation and finding that equilibrium between two opposite things, and how there's balance and everything and all that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would say water and fire usually, but I mean that may well not be the if there are standard associations. But yeah, that's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
Um, Sophie's saying I never really focused on the elemental aspect of the majors, but lately I've been looking at it, but some don't make much sense to me. That's
yeah,
interesting. It'd be interesting to really kind of hone in on the ones that don't make sense and, try and get to the bottom of why it is that, because it might actually open up a new, it might open that bigger picture up a wee bit more for you for that card. Either that or you get to the end and it just makes absolutely no sense. You feel as though someone's just made a mistake, in which case no harm done because it's made you really think about that card anyway. So yeah, no, it's interesting to think about.
yeah. With the majors, because I've just started diving into numerology, which is so confusing because there's so many different like interpretations of what the numbers mean of ace through two. The one thing I have started to really like that Sophie introduced me to, and I read in one of my books, and you and I talked about it, was the lineup of the 7 different stages of the minors into the 3 different groups, and then breaking it into the 10 different groups, but then also taking the 2 sets of 10 and pairing them, and how they relate to the numbers. So, for example, the magician to whatever is the 10th card, is in order of the actual 1s through 10s, but then can be matched with the second set of 10, which is very confusing to people who don't really know about that. But
So sorry, Lucy, were you talking about associating like magician through to Wheel of Fortune to the ace through 10 of the minors, or the magician through to Wheel of Fortune to justice through to judgment? Are you talking about
how all
what
3 sets relate? So
right.
I was talking to Sophie about how the one or the magician to Wheel of Fortune can be matched with their pair of I think it's the strength card that's next to the what's the last card before Wheel of Fortune? Oh, Judgment.
Hermit.
No. Yeah, Judgment.
Hermit.
But then those pairs also match up with the first 10 of the minors. It's confusing when you don't see it visually.
Sorry.
It's good.
Yeah, I don't do any numerology, so sorry. I don't have anything to input.
Yeah, there we go. So Sophie just explained. She said, so for example, the magician, and the strength
Okay.
card represent the aces.
Magician and strength. I don't get it though. How? That
Well,
makes no
because
sense to me.
If you line it up, magician to the 10th card,
Wheel of Fortune.
and then you go down to the 11th card, right underneath the magician is the strength card.
Still not making
So
sense.
the strength card, the
How?
magician card combined equals the meaning of the aces. In
Makes
numerology.
absolutely no sense to me.
Well, that's because you don't study numerology.
I guess not. That's nonsense to me. Sorry.
So Dave, I can kind of explain it in a way that, so you know how like so for example, the magician is card number 1, yeah, and the magician means like kind of it's that spark, you know, it's the as above so below. It's taking something that was previously in the ether, and all of a sudden you've got this idea. The aces they kind of relate to that, you know. The aces just hone in on the particular, you know, suit that you're talking about. The Empress number 3, right? Card number 3 for the Empress. The Empress is all about nurturing and growth. The threes in each of the suits are all about kind of growth. It's all about that element becoming real. Think about the Empress as like the very kind of feminine thing of like you know, pregnancy and childbirth. It's about taking something that was previously not real and now making it real. And if you think about what each of the threes and the suits do, they all do that. So they do. It's all about, you know, the 3 of Wands. She's taking her first steps out. You know, she's. I'm thinking of the Lightseers one where she's got her surfboard. It's that. It's all those relations. If you think about them all and look at them, they kind of relate in that way.
It's also interesting because if you take the 3s of the Empress card, so initially the magician is of energy and it's male representation. You go to the 2s, which goes to the feminine aspect. But then when you combine the 2, think of it as 1 and 2 have a baby, it creates the birth of the 3rd number. So, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I was reading. But it's kind of cool.
Okay. Makes no sense to me whatsoever, but
Well,
that's
because
okay.
birth, like, that's what the Empress is all about. It's all about, well,
Yeah.
not just birth, but like nurturing.
Yeah, but what
birth.
does that have to do with 3s? 3s usually represent growth. I mean, yeah, you can tie birth to growth in like this loose thread, I guess.
Well,
I mean, is
there's
it
other words
is
that
it-
represent the 3s as well?
No,
It's
but
not
like,
just birth.
is it by literal numbers? Like, if you take the cards out and put them out in a square, your first 1 through 10 is magician through wheel.
Yep.
And ace, and you're doing it that by the physical count.
Yeah, so like ace through 10 for your suits will relate to the 1 through 10 of your majors, and another way that you can say they relate to the 11 through 20 as well. I'm not an expert on this, so I need to properly think about it. But the connections are there to be made, so they are.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
So wait a minute. So I'm going to make a statement. Tell me if it's correct. The magician can be about creation, creating things.
Mhm.
The ace to me is about a new beginning or a creation of things. Is this how we're tying it?
Yeah.
3 for growth.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Sophie just said, so the common denominator, keywords from the Empress and the Death Guard combined represent growth.
Yeah. I'm going to stick
Which
with
is
just
associated with the 3s.
I'm going to stick with the numbers, but now when you start combining them, no, I can't. That's
I know.
that's insane. Nope.
Yeah, it's a confusing world.
No. I hated math. I hated math in school.
I loved it. Maths is what I did at uni. I've got a degree in maths.
Hate math. And I work in tech. I don't know how that worked out because I work in computers and stuff, but I hate math.
I'm the same way. I failed at math and I hate math, but I don't know. Just something about the numerology aspect is really interesting. But it's the only one that's like the most challenging out of what I've learned so far. It's harder than the elemental aspect. It's harder than the
No. I just want to put the cards down and read them.
Yeah.
What did you say? You rock, Dave. What did I do? Or is it just me being me?
I knew Dave was going to highlight that comment. I knew that was going up there as soon as I saw it. I was like, that's so getting highlighted.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if maybe I just have an old-fashioned view, or maybe even a gypsy-ish view on like our reading style. Whereas, you know, some people do more of the study and, you know, I guess, I mean, I don't want to say not, because like, I don't want to say non-intuitive, because that's a really bad statement, and it's really a wrong statement to make. But I read intuitively. I don't, what's the opposite of that? Like looking at literal meanings and elements and numerology. I don't read like that. I read, you know, just what that card makes me feel at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I get that.
It's weird.
For
Now,
me,
I wish I could combine both. And sometimes I will keep a cheat sheet out that I have that steers it more towards a literal. So, like, if I come across a card and I'm not feeling anything, maybe I'll reference that. But mostly it's just my feelings.
Yeah. See, for me, right, the way I think about intuition comes from your whole life of things that you've learned, things that you've picked up along the way. Sure, instincts as well, that's definitely one of them. But, you know, knowledge does form a part of intuition. So the way that I personally, for me, so I feel as though the more knowledge that I have, the more that I know, the better my intuition gets. And that's why I do read very intuitively like you do, but at the same time, I like to have that balance of knowledge as well, because it really helps me. So, for example, one of the things that I don't really know much about right now that I'm kind of maybe want to go on and learn a wee bit about is colour. So different colours have different meanings, you know? So I would quite like to maybe have a wee look at what each of the colours means. And sure, probably along the way, I'll form my own associations for each of those colours. But I would just like to have that basis, you know, to start me off. And then when I start reading, you know, in 5 years' time, if I pick up a card and it's like blatantly a red colour, you know, then I'll pick up on that. Whereas if I didn't know it, if I didn't have the knowledge to begin with, then I might not even think about it. It might not even enter my mind. So that's kind of, I think there's a balance there to be had. For me personally, anyway.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
agree with that too, just from my perspective, because I started off reading intuitively, and then I moved on to understanding the traditional meanings. But as I see it, it's good to have an understanding of the traditional meanings, because it serves as the foundation of a reading. So like Dave said, if he comes across a card that you don't really relate to, then it's good to have like at least the foundational understanding of it, and then go based off of your instinct and your intuition that's based off of your life experiences combined with that.
Yeah.
So Kate asks, Dave, do you read the book that comes with the deck? I do, but I don't need to, and I usually don't right away, because that's exactly what it's like. My point is that there are times when I just look at the meaning in the book and what I get from the reading, and the book is just not right. It's just not right. It doesn't fit contextually, and you know, I go by what it makes me feel.
I actually am interesting, because I tend to look at the book when I get a deck that it comes with. Certain ones, like if they have like that tiny ass little white book, and like you flip through it and you see like 5 words for each meaning, of course I'll be like, okay, well, this is serving me like no use, because either I know these meanings, or it's like I just don't connect these words with what I know. So half the time, actually, I kind of like throw away that little white book.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
It's got to be a good book. This one that comes with
Yeah.
the Wizard's Tower. This is a great read.
now
I
if
mean,
it's a big book like that, then yeah, I'm flipping through that to see what the creator's point of view is.
yeah.
Because that gives a lot more than just like
Well, let me
5
tell
little
you,
words.
it goes deep. Like it goes into each of the cards in the Wizard's Tarot will have Greek alphabet in them. And there's just meanings that go into that. I don't get into that when reading, but like it's very interesting. You go through the book. I don't apply it, but it's still really cool.
Yeah. I think it depends on the deck. If it's a standard RWS clone, I wouldn't really lean towards the book as much, I don't think. Sometimes I might look at it for certain cards if I'm interested in the particular card and knowing what's behind that and what the creative process behind it. Some decks, I think you have to because they're just so different. So for me, the Marielle, that just blows my mind. So it does. And to be honest, I don't really work with that so much because I want to wait until I've had the time to properly read the book and understand the process behind it and the intended meaning behind all of the cards. Because for me, I don't know, I find it hard to pull from it just intuitively, just based on the pictures. I don't really want to do that thing where you just think, right, okay, well, I know it's a wolf there, but in the RWS, it's whatever. Do you know what I mean? And relate it back to because then you might as well just be using the RWS, wouldn't you? So I think it depends on the deck. I think somebody said, Sophie, you said, I feel bad. I haven't read the Everyday Witch Tarot booklet. It's such a nice booklet, but I'm just not that into reading booklets. So what I would recommend, see if you feel like you should be reading the booklet or you want to read up on what the book says about the cards. What I would do is I would use that deck and pull maybe 1-3 cards every day and just look up the meanings for those cards alone. Do it bit by bit, break it down into bite-sized steps. Don't feel like you need to read the book like a novel because I mean that's a mammoth task that we just can't be bothered with, isn't it?
Ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
No, but that all makes sense because like it's interesting when you get a dick.
It's interesting when you get a dick. It sure as hell is.
Not what I meant to say. Oh my god! Of course, I had to say that. Oh. Oh my god. Okay.
If you're just joining us on Cross Path, Lucian finds it interesting when he gets a dick.
This is why you stay. This is why you stay past the 2-hour and 30-minute mark.
Gosh. Okay.
When it starts getting real good.
Yeah, when we all start going to the bad place. that happens around about the 2 hour and 30.
When you have a deck that.
Oh gosh, my glasses are steaming up, for goodness sake.
Okay, hold on.
Oh.
Can't believe I just said that. It's interesting when you have a.
It ain't coming out.
Say that again.
I can't unhear
Okay.
dick.
Right. Okay. It's interesting when you have a deck that is that is different than what you're kind of used to, and that's what I like reading the creators' books sometimes is understanding because you look at certain cards that you're like, okay, well that's a little bit different. Why did they put this over here? Why is this instead of that? Why it's cool to kind of see the creator's point of view sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
John just said sausage and meatballs again. Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
Fun when you have a deck.
Oh. Oh, you'd never know what you're gonna hear on here. It's great.
No, it's a magical mystery tour.
I'm crying. Wow, what a
Oh.
moment. That was
That was good. That was good.
It was.
It's like the after party over here.
Robin went, when you get a dick, Lucy, you have some explaining to do.
You have some planning to do. Oh man.
Oh, that was funny.
All right. So we're at 2 hours and 34 minutes. We've had Chris on for a number of
Jeez, aren't you exhausted? Isn't it like almost 2 a.m. your time?
Yep, 10 to 2. I'm fine.
this is part of the plan because we're going to begin to wrap it up. But one thing we haven't done with you, and you've been on this channel a few times, is a game of Never Have I Ever.
Oh, good grief. No, I'm sorry, but there's a very small, but there's a chance that one of my relations might watch this one day. No, I'm only joking. What is it? Is it going to be pure filth or?
I just wasted a puff.
Sorry.
It's never. You guys are killing me. You're killing me. I'm not even going to try to do that because you're killing me. Yeah. It's the game. It's the app on the phone. Where the hell's my phone? All right. No. Hold on. I'm dying. There we go. I'm back. But yeah, it's the Never Have I Ever. You're familiar with the game, right? You must be.
I think so. So if you've done it, then you need to take a drink. Is that right?
Something like that. Yep, exactly. We don't have to do the whole drink part, but but we're gonna play it.
Oh gosh, it's going to go badly. Now, everyone in this room, this is our secret, right? Whatever happens in the room doesn't leave the room.
Exactly. So we're hitting adult.
Oh God.
Continue. Okay. Never have I ever caused someone to need stitches.
No, I've not done that.
Me neither. I'm not violent.
So when I was a kid, I don't remember doing this, but apparently my mom's told me 1,000 times because my brother has the scar to prove it. When I was a kid, I don't know how this happened, but apparently I swung a wooden coat hanger at my brother's forehead. I'm not even sure why I did that or how I did that. Actually, I know how I did it. I swung it. But like, I don't know why I did it. And I ended up giving him like, I think it was 10 stitches, but it's such a cool looking scar. It kind of looks like a little Harry Potter scar on his forehead. But yeah, apparently I gave him stitches that one time because I just got mad at him and swung a coat hanger at his forehead.
Fucking Christ! I'm married to Voldemort. All right.
Sophie, yeah. If the guys in the chat, if yous have done it, then you put up a drink emoji.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Never have I ever pretended to be on.
Stitches.
Never have I ever pretended to be on the phone with someone.
I have.
Yeah, I have too.
No, I don't think I have, to be honest.
Sorry for this.
No.
So I think the funniest time I was ever on the phone was when I called Apple and I pretended to be a customer and I started to go on this random tangent with one of the employees and I was talking to her about like, okay, I really don't understand it. I like am really interested in your product, but I really want to know, are your apples organic? Are they hand grown? Like, where do they come from? Are they from like Italy or something? And she's like, on the other hand, but like going, what are you talking about? I'm like, your apples. Don't you sell Apple products? I need to know, where are they grown? Are they locally grown? Do you import your apples? And she was like, this is a computer store. I'm like, oh, well, I'm so sorry about that. I thought when it said Apple products that you meant like apples that you eat, not computers. Why would you have like, you should tell people that it's computer product, not Apple product. So that's what I
Apple's-
did one time.
Apple's the brand.
Well, I know, but I called to make a joke, obviously.
You're just wretched. You're so bead.
A prank call, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That
Right.
was a fun prank call. Made her very confused.
Never have I ever blamed drinking for something I did.
I'm sure I must have done that. Everyone's done that.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Uh-oh.
That's a nasty one.
Am I doing it? Never have I ever sniffed dirty underwear.
No, I can honestly say, no, it doesn't do anything for me.
Why?
You've never just sniff checked to make sure it was clean?
Right, I'm misinterpreting everything. See, I'm thinking you're meaning from like you get a kink from it type thing.
That's what I was thinking at first.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go with that then. Yeah, I've never done that. Oh no, I don't fucking sniff. Let me get some kink off on your underwear.
Jeez, I never sniff it. I'm just like, if I'm doubting whether or not they're clean, it's like they're going in the dryer or the washer.
Yeah,
Ain't
same.
sniffing anything.
Freaking thing doing. Get this ad shit out of here. Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. 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 Never have I ever lied about my age.
Hell yeah, I do it all the time.
I don't think that's what it means. I mean, like to get into a club or something like that.
Yeah, I have.
To get into a club.
You know when I've lied?
Club.
This is going to sound really bad, right? The only time I've ever lied about my age, I don't know if you get the same thing over there, right? But here, if you go into city centre, you get charity people that stop you with clipboards, right? And they'll stop you for the most random of charities. And I've actually told, it was when I was a student, so it was more believable, but I've actually told someone that I was under 18 just because I knew that you can't, they can't sign you up to the direct debit stuff when you're under 18. So I told them, oh, I'm only 17. And they said, oh, right, okay, we'll let you go then because we can't. So that was a good way for me to get out of that because I'm not very good at cutting those conversations short.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's when I've lied about my age.
I lie about my age all the time, especially when I meet new people and then I get in my conversation with them. They're trying to get to know me and then they say like, oh, how old are you? And I go, well, how old do you think I am? And then I play that game with them, trying to get them to guess. And they're like, oh, you look like you're 16, 17. I'm like, no, I'm older than that. And they're like, okay, well, probably like 20, 21. I'll be like, no, I'm way older than that. They're like, what? Are you 35 or something? I'm like, no, I'm older than that. And they go, you can't be 40. I'm like, girl, I'm a lot younger looking than I look. But trust me, I'm a lot older. And they're like, damn, how old are you? And I'll be like, oh, I'm like 42. And they're like, oh, you look so good for your age. I'll be like, no, I'm just 21. But
Yeah, Lucian does do that because Lucian did that with me. I can confirm it.
yeah, I did that with you.
Yeah, but I didn't fall for it because I'd already noticed that you were coming up to a certain birthday, so I knew exactly how old you were.
So I had a fake ID to go to the clubs.
I had a fake ID too.
Yeah. Oh,
For a good 2 years.
all right. Never have I ever made a naughty video.
Have I? No, I don't think I have.
I have.
Who was this with? Because I know you've only had one other boyfriend before me, so
Don't you worry about it.
Oh,
I can do later.
Huh. Hold on. I had.
Okay, just went silence. Dot,
Hold
dot,
on.
oh, Sophie's taking a drink.
dot. Yes.
Oh shit! I forgot. I
Sophie, you have some explaining to
had
do.
explaining to do. I forgot. I had one I was gonna read, and I forgot. Oh, that's dumb. Oh god, who hasn't done that? Who hasn't done that?
Watched adult videos, seriously.
Oh, that's stupid. They don't want me to rate this fucking game right now. Oh, stupid. Oh my god. All that. I have a different version. Talks amongst yourselves.
Oh.
Okay, just loading loading the second version because the questions were getting pretty dumb. Get that out of here.
Kay says she's never watched an adult video.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Robin just went, Lucian, you look amazing from 42. Thank you.
Jesus.
Thank you.
How do I get into it? Let's go. What's it doing?
It's that Asian persuasion. We
Oh, here we
persuade you to think that we're a lot younger than we look. We'll be like, we'll look like this until we're 85, and then we'll look like we should have died like 75 years ago.
Okay, we got a few more. Never have I ever wore gold chains or other bling.
Yeah, one goal before.
Yeah.
No. You have? Oh yeah, you got bling on right now.
My engagement ring's got rose gold in it, actually.
Oh. Ooh, my industrial. Sometimes I've put a bar in that's well, it's not real gold. It's like it's imitation gold, but
Oh boy. Never have I ever finished someone else's food or drink after they left.
oh yeah, I do it all the time when you sneak away to the bathroom. I'll be like, "Ooh, his French fries are there." Dum, 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 dum.
Yep.
I mean, like, I've finished Sandy's before if he's not finished what's on his plate, and I've particularly wanted it, but after he left, like, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose I must have done. Do you know what I mean? I don't take any issue with it. So.
Yeah, that
Right.
counts. That counts. Oh my god. Oh Jesus.
Oh, that.
Okay, here's a good one. Never have I ever peed in a public pool.
Who hasn't?
I feel like I must have done when I was wee, but I've never done it when I was an adult.
Oh hell, if I can't hold it, then
I'm
doing
all right,
it then
okay.
there. No shame.
All right, how about the beach? Ever peed in the beach?
Oh, yeah, it's a vast ocean that you're in.
Oh yeah. If I'm out in the water and the waves are good and the sensation's there.
Oh my God. I feel
I'm
so bad for
hey,
the people
the-
that's like in front of you with the waves coming.
They're like, oh wow, there's a warm spot. Come over here. I found a warm spot.
Here's a question, right? Here's a question for you when you are doing that, when you are performing that particular activity. Do you just keep your shorts on, or or do you like kind of
In the
like,
ocean? When you
yeah, yeah?
I leave the shorts right on. I just let it go.
Around.
Yeah, you
Move
just
around a bit.
you get out of the
Start
warm
swimming a bit.
spot. You get out of the warm
Right.
spot and the
And
water
then-
is clean.
I'm sorry, the water doesn't. You've just pissed through your shorts. You're just going to walk about in pissy shorts after that? Surely not. Come on.
That's what the ocean's for. You go swimming
You're
a little bit.
You're dangling in salt water. That piss is
Long gone.
Long gone.
Long gone to people in front of you. Oh gosh.
Oh my god, that's good.
That's a weird one.
That is. Oh, that's depressing. Even more depressing. Never have I ever prank called someone or anyone.
That's kind of.
Do we not have that?
Oh, we might answer that one. All
Yeah,
right,
I was gonna
move
say
on.
that was my story with the prank called the apple.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never have I ever.
I sound like my dad. Oh, the apple.
Oh my god, guys, I just read, so Sophie Moontaro just put a comment saying, yeah, once or twice, my ex's food. I'm still in the peeing in the pool mode, so I'm like, has she peed in her ex's food? But no, she's talking about stealing it, isn't she?
Oh,
Please tell me you stole your ex's food, Sophie. You didn't pee in it. Please.
wait a
Please
minute.
restore my faith in humanity.
I got to it and thought the same thing.
I don't see it in here. What are we talking about?
It's right. Wait, go up a bit. Right here. Once or twice, my ex's food.
Oh, you peed his food. Fantastic.
Oh, she didn't. She's talking about eating his food after he left.
I
when
know.
he was done. Oh,
I'm just joking. So Wiley says, I had sex in the ocean. Why ain't we never done that?
there's people.
She's just gonna go away from the people. Yeah, beaches.
What are we gonna do? Do it underwater? Well, I guess you could technically, but
Yeah, beaches get crowded.
yeah, the beaches got really, really crowded during the summer.
Yeah, I wish.
And then when they're closed afterwards, you can't like get onto the beach.
No, I don't think they closed. They closed the parking, but I think you could still get on there.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't-
Anyways,
beaches are, considered coastline. They're technically open for anyone can access, but you can't. They closed the parking lot.
Kay just said sex in the water can be difficult.
Well, oh man.
And
Never have you ever fallen asleep in the cinema in the movies?
Oh my god, I just had a really funny thought and kind of a disturbing one too.
Oh boy, you're in trouble
It just
now.
had to do with like having sex in the water, and I'm just like, but aren't there like lots of microorganisms that float around the water? So when you're like doing it, aren't they like getting shoved up certain body
Well,
parts that
they
you
could swim
don't
up.
want?
They could swim up there anyways. You're dangling in the water.
Oh yeah,
They're gonna get in. They're gonna get in. I mean,
It's a weird thought. Really weird thought. That makes me not want to go in the ocean anymore.
Yeah, so Wiley says no people were around. Oh, I would love to do that. We need to find an empty beach and do a little blump, blump, blump under the water.
Well, if there's no one around, why in the water? Just do it on the sand where it's drier.
The whole point is to do it in the water.
What's wrong with the sand? Sand can be romantic. Oh, well, no, not if it's getting everywhere.
Yeah, right? What if you're kind of doing this and sand gets in and then forget it. You'll be
Well, that was graphic.
sorry.
dearie me.
All right. Stupid one. Never ever touched an electric fence. What the fuck?
No.
No, who the fuck would
Oh,
be this?
sorry. I'm drinking just because I'm thirsty. Not that I want to go touching like electric.
Never have I ever hit on someone while drunk.
Yeah, I apparently hit on a bartender one time when I was drunk with at a bar with my brother. I kind of remember that too, slightly.
Right,
And?
that's my drink finished.
Oh, that was
So
it.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you're finished with your drink. I'm finished with my drink. You know what that means.
That means we're going to
Time
wrap
to go.
this shit up.
Just kidding. Well, yeah.
Yeah, let's take a quick peruse through the comments.
Yeah, I have been.
Anything good?
That noise was graphic, Dave.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta you gotta resort to the charades.
Have you ever fallen asleep on the toilet?
I have.
Robin asked. I
have.
not.
Yeah, I've done power naps in the toilet.
I've fallen asleep at work on the desk.
No, if there were days when I was just completely tired and you're sitting there looking at the fucking screen and you're like, I will go into the shitter, close the door, and I'll set a 15-minute timer on my Apple Watch, and I'll just fucking power nap. I've also fallen asleep at a company meeting. My coworker had to be like, dude, you're snoring. This shit was boring as fuck. I don't care about the profits and the losses and anything. Look, I'm the tech guy. Let me know what I can buy, for what I want to do, and that's it. I don't need any of that other shit. It's boring. I have fallen asleep in the dentist chair twice. Fallen asleep in the dentist chair when I had my wisdom tooth pulled. There was no choice. You were put to sleep. It was like, breathe this in.
The last time I went to the dentist, I was going to do a teeth cleaning, and it's been like forever since I did one, so I was super nervous. I was like, oh my god, is this going to hurt? Oh no, she was doing like a deep cleaning. I was like, I've never done that before, so I was like, what the hell do you do? And she's like, oh, we just go underneath your gum like this far. I'm just like, oh my god, that seems like a lot. And she's like, you'll be fine. And then right as she said you'll be fine, my phone started to ring in my pocket. I pull it out, and apparently I accidentally hit 911. And I had it on the phone. They're like, 911, what's your emergency? I was like, help, I'm at the dentist. And I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, sorry, my phone just kind of butt dialed you. And she's like, oh, that's understandable. The dentist can be scary sometimes. And then I hung up, and the dentist was like, damn, I didn't think it was going to be that scary for you that you had to call 911.
Only you would do that.
Right.
That would only happen to you. Help, get me from the dentist. I'm scared.
Are you guys quite happy for me to pull a card for everybody
Yeah.
before we leave it?
Yeah.
Shuffling away here. So I'll have a look and see. Just pull a
What am I
card for the collective, card for everybody, and we'll see how our weekend's looking.
Oh, right here. I'm going to pull from the New Era Elements.
Hi, Hecate.
So we're gonna get it in the feels today. We're gonna feel it. All right. And here's my card. Wait a minute. That's just the instructions. All right. Here's my card. Shit's the title. Hold on. I gotta get a shuffle going. What the hell?
So. Do you want to go, Chris?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Right. Okay. So I've pulled the Queen of Swords for us all. So for everybody for the weekend. So Queen of Swords energy. The Queen of Swords motto is, every situation has a choice behind it, doesn't it? She's all about cause and effect. She is the intellect, the intellectual side the emotional side of intellect. She's a great ally to have on your side, and should be an amazing teacher. If you're really trying to understand something really technical, the Queen of Swords is the one you want behind you. But just take care, because the Queen of Swords sometimes the Queen of Swords can be a bit impatient with people that she considers to be of lesser intelligence. Okay. So thinking about that for us for the weekend and putting that into context, is there something that you want to learn? Is there something new that you really want to get your teeth into? Then we've got that energy behind us in the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is going to help us there, but only as long as we're willing to take responsibility, put in the work, be responsible for the choices that we make, and have an idea of where we're going as well. The Queen of Swords is looking forwards. She's all about the choices that we make that get us to the situation, but in order to make the right choices, you need to cast forward, you need to look forward. So yeah, that's my message for everybody for the weekend. What have you guys got?
I pulled, ironically, the Knight of Swords, Dave, which you guys can't see right now because I'm not on the screen. There we go. I pulled the Knight of Swords.
Oh.
Now, the Knight of Swords to me is all about, so with the pages, it's all about that spark, that creation, that birth of energy. And with the Knights, it's all about that movement, that momentum that's starting to gain action. It's about taking everything that you've learned and putting it out there in the world to manifest. And it's taking charge of your plan that you want to succeed in.
Interesting. Yeah. And my card is the Daughter of Fire. A real appropriate card for these times. You think about the struggles and what's going on with with the Black Lives Matter, and just the racial inequality that exists today. I think this card tells us that we need to start looking at the souls that are within people and not just what's on the surface. Because we exist beyond, beyond our skin, beyond the colors of our skin, that soul, that energy, that passion. You look at this, the face in this card, and you can't help to feel the, the pain, the warmth, the strength, and the dignity. So that's my card for this weekend.
That was amazing.
That was really amazing.
That's a really powerful card.
And I mean, this deck is so powerful. I would read more with this deck, but I tell you, it's just very intense.
But it's cool that we both pulled swords and then Dave pulled fire, because swords is the element air, which is all about thoughts, and then the queen is about drawing blank. Hold on, I'm buffering.
He's buffering.
The Queen of Swords is all about jeez, what's
Is it the element, the water of air? Is that what you're meaning?
yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, the water.
You said she's water of air, right?
Yeah. Yes, the queens are water and the swords are air. So you've pulled the fire of air. I pulled the water of air. We all get court cards, and Dave has pulled the earth of fire.
Earth of fire. So it's interesting that we all pulled the four
What?
natural elements
I
that create balance.
Huh? I pulled the daughter of fire.
Yeah, but the daughters correspond to earth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're going
it's
into
Earth
this.
of fire.
We're going into this technical stuff again. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah.
So there's a little bit of everything, isn't there?
Really
Cool.
cool.
It looks as though we've all got. There was nothing bad in there, was there? So it looks as though we've all got a pretty exciting weekend ahead of us. So I hope everybody enjoys it. Thank you very much to everyone for all your encouraging comments. I've seen a couple of people saying Chris needs a channel, or sorry, I've seen Marina say Chris needs a channel. So thank you very much, Marina. Yeah,
We'll get him
maybe one day, but for now, I'm just an imposter on cross paths, and I'm quite comfortable being that.
Someday. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you all.
This is a lot of fun. And there was something I was going to say, and I totally forgot what I was going to say.
You'll remember it as soon as we go off air, I bet you.
Right.
Yeah. But
anyways, thank you all for coming tonight. And this was actually really, really cool. A lot of fun.
The popcorn party's got to be a little bit of fun. It's okay to bring the serious in, and then you nudge it with a little fun.
So that was more
we had
of
a good flow.
Good learning.
Well, no, the thing is, we've been on for 3 hours. That only happens when things are good and things are flowing.
Has it really been 3 hours?
It has been 3 hours.
Geez.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.